Chapter 295. Lin Shi's senior sister's performance was completely normal. Even if she came from a big sect, she might not have a good home. Although this young Master Sha was a bit arrogant, he was still very polite to his friends, and he had enough capital to be arrogant. This kind of man was indeed very popular with some women who were not arrogant. The taste of the flowing pearl tea was really good. The tea was not only mellow and delicious, but after entering the mouth, it felt like there were beads jumping between the teeth. It was very wonderful. The most important thing was that this flowing pearl tea also had a big effect on improving the soul realm of cultivators. After drinking a cup, Xiaoling Yu already felt that her soul realm was fuller and more stable. After staying in this private room for 2.5 days, everyone left the flowing pearl tea house and came to the gate of the city lord's mansion again. Just walking around the square, Xiaoling Yu did not see Lin Shi. She sent a message over, but there was no reply. He probably went somewhere else alone. Lin Shi's senior sister said indifferently. Then why didn't he even reply to a message? Zhu Jin said unhappily. Everyone didn't think much about it, but walked to the light curtain that was temporarily set up in the square. At this time, in the square in front of the city lord's mansion, 10 battle stages had been built, and the light curtain was in front of these battle stages. On the light curtain, the order of the battle was displayed. The cultivators who wanted to participate in the battle could come here to see the number of their opponent. The number of each cultivator was engraved on the back of the jade slip that they received when signing up. A battle is limited to a cup of tea. In this way, the final result will be decided in one day. After watching for a while, Sangju frowned and said, with such a frequent arrangement of matches, if a true devil stage cultivator wants to enter the top 100, he would have to win 7 or 8 matches in a row in a day. Indeed, he would need to be very strong. Gong Yi was also rather distressed. Sangju and Gong Yi had not reached the true demon late stage. Although they had the ability to deal with true demon late stage cultivators now, and they might be lucky enough to win 1 or 2 battles, but to win 7 or 8 battles in a row was too difficult. Haha, if a spirit demon stage cultivator wants to enter the top 100, they only need to win 2 or 3 matches. There are only about 1,000 people who signed up. Lin Shi's senior sister said with a smile. If we're lucky and don't encounter any late-stage spirit demon cultivators in 2 or 3 rounds, it's very likely that we'll be able to enter the top 100 easily. Xiaoling Yu nodded in response. Compared to the chaotic battles of the Earth Demon, Heavenly Demon, and Demon King realms, you guys are already having an easy time, Zhu Jin said with a bitter expression. It was indeed as Zhu Jin had said. Because there were too many cultivators who had signed up for these 3 realms, if they were to rely on elimination, they would need too many rounds. Therefore, the city lord mansion that controlled the Blood Moon Tower decided to divide them into 10 groups. The 10 groups would have a group battle royale, and the last 10 people from each group would have the qualifications to enter the Blood Moon Tower. The battle between the cultivators of these 3 realms was a little too chaotic. If one didn't have absolute strength, it was impossible to last until the end. Moreover, even if one's strength was very strong, one might not be able to last until the end. Time slowly passed, and after a few hours, Xiaoling Yu still didn't see Lin Shi. If Brother Lin has signed up, he should be here by now. Xiaoling Yu seemed to be concerned. At this time, a large number of city guards had already surrounded the battle rings, and the light screen was constantly reminding all the participating cultivators to start preparing. According to Lin Shi's temperament, he should have already arrived. He may have forgotten about it. Lin Shi's senior sister still didn't take it seriously. If he doesn't come, he may lose this opportunity. He will be in the first round of the Spirit Demon competition. Gong Yi also seemed a little worried. In any case, this Lin Shi had a good relationship with Xiaoling Yu and others, and everyone didn't want anything to happen to him. Another hour passed, and the battle had already begun, but Lin Shi still didn't appear. If it wasn't for the soul imprint that Lin Shi left in Xiaoling Yu's communication bead, Xiaoling Yu was afraid that he would really think the worst. At the beginning of the battle, Xiaoling Yu also stepped on the ring, and what made him feel a little relieved was that his opponent was just a spirit demon early-stage cultivator. Although in the Blood Moon City, everyone has a taboo, and they don't easily use their devil sense to spy on the strength of others, but now that it's a battle, naturally they don't have any scruples. Xiaoling Yu and his opponent were both looking at each other at this time. It's strange, he is obviously in the true demon realm, how can he be in the spirit demon stage? Is it a mistake? This is also good, I can easily win the first battle, and I can also better deal with the next battle. The spirit demon early-stage cultivator thought of this, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth, and under the order of the referee, his body flashed and appeared in front of Xiaoling Yu. In his opinion, his speed was already very fast, at least not something that any true devil stage cultivator could compare with. But what he didn't expect was that when he just arrived in front of the other party, his seemingly unavoidable palm was actually less than an inch away from the other party's chest, and the other party dodged to the side. What he didn't expect was that following that, a sharp pain came from his lower abdomen, and his body also flew backward. He also tried hard to stabilize his body, but unfortunately, the opponent's kick was like a strong blow to his body, so he couldn't stop no matter how hard he tried. After all, he was kicked in the abdomen, where his dantian was located. After the dantian was hit, the demon infant would naturally be dispirited for a while. Without the strong support of the demon infant, the cultivator would be very weak. After all, not every cultivator can have a strong body like Xiaoling Yu. Xiaoling Yu just kicked his opponent, and his opponent had already stepped down. Of course, this was also the opponent's fault for not paying too much attention to him, otherwise, it wouldn't be so easy for him to defeat a spirit demon early-stage cultivator. I was careless, so unlucky. After the opponent fell down, his expression changed again and again, but after cursing in a low voice, he directly walked to the side. He knew in his heart that he didn't lose unjustly, and his opponent must have hidden his cultivation. What surprised Xiaoling Yu was that not long after he won, Sangju, Gongyi, Xia Gongzi, and Lin Shi's senior sister all quickly stepped down and won. After asking carefully, he found out that their opponents were the same as Xiaoling Yu, and their strength was very limited. It seems that Xia Gongzi also did something, and the city lord's mansion deliberately arranged this, Xiaoling Yu thought. Just as he expected, after waiting for 4 hours, everyone entered the second round of the competition, but their opponents were either early stage or middle stage, and their strength was not very strong. From this, Xiaoling Yu was even more certain that Xia Gongzi really had a lot of power. However, what surprised and worried Xiaoling Yu was that Lin Shi still did not come, but even if Lin Shi came now, he had already lost the qualification to enter the Blood Moon Tower. As a cultivator at the middle stage spirit demon realm, he could see some of Xiaoling Yu's strength. He knew that Xiaoling Yu was not weak, so he was not careless and did not attack him forcefully from the beginning. He just stared at Xiaoling Yu vigilantly. Xiaoling Yu didn't want to waste any more time. In fact, it was very advantageous for him to fight in such a small place, because it was difficult for a cultivator at the middle stage of spirit demon to fully display their strength in such a place. It was more advantageous for Xiaoling Yu to release his big moves. Therefore, after observing for a while, he made a chaotic devil seal with a devil curse and blasted it over. His opponent felt the powerful energy fluctuation in the chaotic devil seal, and his heart suddenly trembled, and he immediately released the devil talisman. Boom! After the primal chaos devil seal was hit by the high-grade devil rune, it exploded and flattened the temporarily built fighting stage. A powerful shockwave immediately swept out in all directions, causing the restrictions around the fighting stage to tremble uncontrollably. Although the cultivator had managed to block the attack, he was currently outside of the arena. When mysterious demon experts fought, they would often release big moves and destroy the fighting stage, so Xiaoling Yu's chaotic devil seal did not attract too much attention and surprise. After winning again, Xiaoling Yu only needed to win one more battle to obtain the qualification to enter the Blood Moon Tower. However, there was no joy or worry on his face, because many things could go wrong at the last step. Sangju, Gongyi, Xia Gongzi, and Lin Shi's senior sister all faced cultivators of the same realm in the second round, so they easily won. After gathering again, Sha Gongzi said calmly, in the third round, everyone might meet a more powerful opponent. Xiaoling Yu knew that Sha Gongzi could only control the first 2 rounds. After all, after the first 2 rounds, there would be many unpredictable variables. Another 4 hours passed, and Lin Shi still did not return, so the third round began. What Xiaoling Yu didn't expect was that he should have had an opponent, but although his opponent won the second round, he was seriously injured and couldn't participate in the third round, so he smoothly obtained a seat in the top 100. Gong Yi's battle was very fierce, but he used his very fleeting movement technique to exhaust his opponent's cultivation and win. Song Ju was more unlucky. He met a peak late-stage true demon expert. He did not last for more than 100 breaths of time before he was blasted out of the fighting stage by his opponent. Sha Gongzi's opponent was a middle-stage spirit demon. Although Sha Gongzi's cultivation was at the same level, he had a supreme-grade demonic artifact. His advantage in Dharma treasures allowed him to win easily without revealing much of his true strength. However, from Sha Gongzi's calmness, Xiaoling Yu could imagine that this guy had his strength very well. He estimated that he was not weaker than a late-stage spirit demon cultivator. Lin Shi's senior sister was also in the middle-stage spirit demon realm. Fortunately, she encountered another cultivator in the early-stage spirit demon realm. Unfortunately, although the other party's cultivation was lower than hers, his strength was not much weaker than hers. The two of them fought on the stage for a full 10 minutes. Only then did she use a top-grade demonic pill to quickly recover her cultivation and win. It wasn't until the true demon stage and spirit demon stage battles were over that the earth demon, heavenly demon, and demon king stage battles began. Chapter 296. Zhu Jin was also quite unlucky, maybe because he looked very young. He gave others the impression that he was very weak, so soon after he entered the arena, he was chased by a group of people, and he only lasted for less than 100 breaths of time before he was kicked out. In the devil world, the weak will not be pitted, they will only be eliminated, and in this kind of chaotic battle, the weak will be the first to be kicked out. Of course, if Zhu Jin used his iron puppet, not only will he be able to persist until the end, he will also be able to clear out the entire arena easily. But he didn't want to be so high-profile, and he was also not very eager to enter the Blood Moon Tower. The competition quickly ended. The light screen on the square reminded everyone that in 6 hours, the top 100 cultivators of each realm would be able to enter the Blood Moon Tower. However, 3 hours later, Lin Shi still didn't come back. Xiaoling Yu didn't want to delay her cultivation because of this matter, and after arranging a few words for Zhu Jin and the other two, she followed the City Lord Mansion's experts to the southeast corner of the Blood Moon City. The Blood Moon Tower has 7 floors, and it is about 1,000 feet high. The whole structure looks like it is made of black iron, and at the top, there is a moon-like disc, flashing a bloody red light from time to time. According to the arrangement of the Blood Moon City Lord Mansion, the Earth Demon Realm cultivators will enter the Blood Moon Tower through the gate, followed by the Heavenly Demon, Demon King, True Demon, Xiaoling Yu, Sha Gongzi, and Lin Shi's senior sister are all at the Spirit Demon Realm, so naturally they will enter the tower together. The first floor of the Blood Moon Tower was extremely large, but the structure was very simple. In the center was a staircase that led to the second floor, and there was a hexagonal space around it. The surrounding area was filled with secret rooms, and those Earth Demon stage cultivators had all entered these secret rooms to cultivate. At this time, the edges of the hexagonal space are flowing with bloody red light, and those lights will then distort and penetrate into the secret rooms. Climbing the stairs, Xiaoling Yu and the other 100 Spirit Demon Realm cultivators quickly reached the 5th floor. The layout of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th floors was not much different from the first floor. However, the higher they went, the fewer the number of secret rooms on each floor, but there were no less than 100 of them. There were nearly 200 secret rooms on the 5th floor. Although they all looked the same, if one took a closer look, one would find that the first 100 secret rooms only had one bloody circle on the lintel. The 60-odd secret rooms in the middle had 2 bloody circles, while the remaining 30-odd secret rooms had 3 bloody circles. It was obvious that the number of circles on the lintel was different. These secret chambers were also ranked. Early-stage spirit demons should enter a circular secret chamber. The Shagonzi and Lin Shi's senior martial sister had both entered a secret room with 2 circles. Xiaoling Yu had just bid farewell to the 2 of them when she gloomily discovered that the secret rooms with 2 or 3 circles on the lintel had all been occupied. Thinking about it, there was basically no early-stage spirit demon who could enter this place. Therefore, no one was willing to cultivate in a circular secret chamber. Although I have the strength of a spirit demon realm cultivator, I am still in the true demon realm. The secret room of an early-stage spirit demon should be enough for me. Thinking of this, Xiaoling Yu pushed open the door of a secret room with only 1 circle, entered it, then closed the door, and arranged some restrictions on the door. The furnishings in the secret room were very simple. There was only a stone bed and an area of less than 20 square meters. The demonic spirit power inside was very rich. Moreover, the blood-red light that constantly seeped in from the door seemed to carry all kinds of strange energy and fluctuations, which made the mana power in the secret room more gentle. Xiaoling Yu first felt the demonic spirit power, then sat cross-legged on the stone bed and began to close her eyes and adjust her breathing. 3 days later, Xiaoling Yu's state improved to the best, and the energy from the middle-stage wandering dragon roar that was wrapped and suppressed by the chaos magic power was slowly flowing out and being refined by the primal chaos true fire. After another 10 days, Xiaoling Yu completely refined the energy released in the wine and digested the effect of drinking the flowing pearl tea on the soul realm. After adjusting his breathing for a few more days, Xiaoling Yu began to process the materials taken from the bounty hunter branch. After another 2 months, all the materials that should be processed were properly processed, and Xiaoling Yu adjusted his state again. After reaching the best state, he smeared the materials that should be used, and poured them into his stomach. When they began to take effect, he took out a piece of high-grade magic stone and best-grade magic stone and piled them around him. Suddenly, Xiaoling Yu, who was in the secret room, stretched out his arms, and a suction force appeared in his palms, acting on the magic stones. The demonic spirit power in the magic stones began to surge wildly, and all of them quickly sank into Xiaoling Yu's meridians, and then were transferred to his dantian. The chaos demonic nascent soul's small hands began to gesture in front of its chest, and incomparably pure chaos magic power spurted out of its mouth, rolling up the demonic spirit power to form an energy vortex. No matter how much demonic spirit power flowed into his dantian, the vortex always maintained its original state, and its high-speed rotation could transform the demonic spirit power into chaos magic power. The energy in the Blood Moon Tower was also constantly flowing into his body, and Xiaoling Yu's power was constantly increasing. Along with the rich demonic spirit power was the unique blood-colored energy fluctuation in the Blood Moon Tower. After it entered Xiaoling Yu's body, it could stimulate Xiaoling Yu's physical potential, and also help Xiaoling Yu speed up the refining and transformation of the energy. Xiaoling Yu could guess that the reason why cultivating in the Blood Moon Tower was so helpful in breaking through was because of the existence of the blood-colored energy fluctuation. In addition to the materials that Xiaoling Yu smeared on his body or directly consumed in his stomach, he did not encounter too many problems in the process of increasing his power. Everything went very smoothly. Xiaoling Yu had stayed in the Chaos Convergence period for a long time, and his cultivation during the Chaos Convergence period was already very stable. Forcibly increasing his power like this was actually a matter of course in the cultivation of the 9 Revolutions Chaos formula. 3 days passed like this, and the magic stones in the room were all turned into ashes. Xiaoling Yu suddenly withdrew his arm, and his 10 fingers began to change seals in front of his chest. The chaos demonic nascent soul in his dantian did the same. He gradually withdrew the energy vortex in front of him, and began to form seals in coordination. Along with the seals, the 3 flower buds of different colors on top of his head entangled together, as if they were about to merge. Bang! Xiaoling Yu and his chaos demonic nascent soul formed seals for a full 10 minutes before they suddenly stopped, and a loud roar came from his mouth. At this time, Xiaoling Yu's body suddenly shone with a burst of chaotic light, and the chaos demonic nascent soul in his dantian also exploded, turning into countless light spots. Xiaoling Yu changed his seals again, and at the same time, he let the surging energy in his body roll up the liquid materials that had been hidden in his body long ago into his dantian. At the same time, Xiaoling Yu divided his attention to take out a jade bottle from the storage magic treasure, and quickly took out the four-legged ginseng king from the jade bottle, and then swallowed it in one gulp. When the four-legged ginseng king entered the stomach, it was immediately crushed into pieces by the violent energy, and all of it was rolled into the dantian. Gradually, the energy that was scattered in the dantian began to gather together, and slowly condensed into a shape. The difficulty of breaking through to the chaotic void refinement stage was similar to that of the third transformation stage at the beginning, and the problems that needed to be solved were similar, but the materials needed were more advanced. At this moment, Xiaoling Yu had reached the step of condensing the nascent soul, which was actually the last step to break through to the chaotic void refinement stage. As long as he could successfully condense the nascent soul, Xiaoling Yu would be considered to have successfully broken through to the chaotic void refinement stage. However, the process of condensing the nascent soul lasted for a full 6 hours, and not only was it not completed smoothly, but it also slowly stopped. Once it stopped before it was completed, the energy would explode again, and then Xiaoling Yu would only die. Xiaoling Yu's preparations for breaking through to the chaotic void refinement stage were actually very sufficient, but even so, his chances of success were less than 50%, and now there were signs of failure, which was reasonable. At this moment, Xiaoling Yu had already done everything he could, and the rest was up to luck. Even if he failed, he could only wait, and there was nothing he could do to change the situation. The process of condensing the nascent soul became slower and slower, and Xiaoling Yu's aura became weaker and weaker, and the chaotic light around his body was almost annihilated. Am I going to fail just like that? Although Xiaoling Yu was unwilling, there was nothing he could do. Choosing the path of cultivation, he was already mentally prepared to die prematurely. This path of cultivation was not something that everyone could reach the peak of perfection, especially those who chose to cultivate a heaven-defying technique like the 9 transformation chaos formula, which was even more difficult to reach the end. Just as Xiaoling Yu was about to lose all hope, and the energy in his body was at its lowest point, and the nascent soul that was slowly condensing was about to explode, a wave of blood-colored energy surged in from outside the secret chamber, and then quickly sank into Xiaoling Yu's body. The blood-colored energy wave was like a hot knife through butter, and it flowed through Xiaoling Yu's meridians into his dantian, and tightly surrounded the nascent soul that was about to successfully condense. Xiaoling Yu was already in despair, so he naturally did not resist the invasion of the blood-colored energy, and allowed it to do whatever it wanted in his dantian. After the blood-colored energy wave came into contact with the nascent soul, it immediately sank into it, causing the nascent soul to become more and more solid. However, Xiaoling Yu could clearly feel that although his chaotic nascent soul had begun to condense faster, the composition of the energy within seemed to have changed quite a bit. After the blood-colored energy sank into the chaotic nascent soul, it sank too quickly and in too large a quantity, making it difficult for the nascent soul to refine. As a result, this portion of energy did not belong to Xiaoling Yu for now and for a period of time in the future. Xiaoling Yu was still unable to determine how this would affect Xiaoling Yu and the chaotic nascent soul. Chapter 297. What Xiaoling Yu didn't know was that, at the same time that the crimson energy was rapidly sinking into her body, the crimson full moon in the sky of the blood moon continent seemed to be a lot closer to the ground. It looked a lot bigger, and its radiance was even brighter and more bewitching. Most of the crimson moonlight from the crimson full moon in the sky converged into the blood moon city, turning into invisible and colorless fluctuations, unceasingly pouring into the blood moon tower's spire. Although the blood moon tower seemed to be completely made of black iron, its surface was covered with a layer of faint crimson light, which attracted countless cultivators of the blood moon city to stop and look. What made everyone feel even more surprised was that the blood moon tower, which had been very quiet for countless years, was unexpectedly letting out a melodious flute sound that spread thousands of miles away. The flute sound was gradually intoxicating, giving people a feeling of being in a paradise, untainted by the moral world. But all the cultivators who heard the flute sound forgot everything around them, and also forgot their own existence. All of them had a smile on their face, and foolishly stood in their original place. the crimson full moon in the sky seemed to be still moving towards the ground. The crimson moonlight was like a sharp sword that could pierce through time and space, piercing straight down from the sky, and then suddenly disappearing above everyone's head, turning into a strange fluctuation that only profound demon stage experts could feel, converging in the Blood Moon City, and then rushing towards the Blood Moon Tower's spire. The strange phenomenon of the Blood Moon Tower and the crimson moon in the sky only lasted for less than the time it takes to make a cup of tea. The flute sound suddenly stopped, and the crimson moon in the sky and the entire Blood Moon City trembled at the same time. After a burst of radiance, the crimson moon returned to its original state, but it gave people a feeling that it was a little different from before. As for what was different, no one could clearly say. But what everyone didn't see was that, when the crimson moon's radiance burst out, a similarly sharp sword-like radiance pierced through the night sky, and fell down. Only a few profound demon stage experts were able to see it. That radiance flashed and disappeared, sinking into the Blood Moon Tower. Could it be that a treasure fell from the sky? All the mysterious devil stage cultivators or devil monarch stage experts who were rarely seen in the Blood Moon continent rushed towards the Blood Moon City. Those who were already in the Blood Moon City quickly rushed towards the Blood Moon Tower. However, there were still hundreds of Blood Moon continents elites cultivating inside the Blood Moon Tower. Not only was the tower's door closed, but there were also experts guarding the door. The experts guarding the Blood Moon Tower were the same as the experts guarding the City Lord Mansion of the Blood Moon City. They weren't real experts of the Blood Moon continent, but were sent by those big forces of the Devil World to guard the Blood Moon City. They used various means to amass wealth in the Blood Moon City and looked after some important places in the Blood Moon City. They were also very curious as to why such a strange situation had occurred. However, the strange situation had already disappeared, so they naturally would not allow other cultivators to enter the Blood Moon Tower to take a look. Even if this matter needed to be investigated, it should be done by them and not by others. The experts who had gathered from all directions were also afraid of the City Lord Mansion and the big forces of the Devil World behind the City Lord Mansion. Therefore, they could only encircle the Blood Moon Tower and wait for the treasure to fall from the sky. More and more people gathered outside the Blood Moon Tower, which also put great pressure on the City Lord Mansion. If one of these people was not calm, as long as one person took action, it was bound to lead everyone to take action. Now that the Blood Moon continent was chaotic enough, many people didn't mind a little more chaotic. At this time, Shaolin Yu's Chaos Demon nascent soul had finished condensing. There was a circle of four-colored light hovering above his head, which looked a little sacred. The four-colored light circle was the symbol of the Chaos Demon nascent soul entering the chaotic void refining stage. However, the Chaos Demon nascent soul's body was always flickering with chaotic light and bloody light, which made the Chaos Demon nascent soul look a little strange. Shaolin Yu was not experiencing the changes of his Chaos Demon nascent soul, but was comprehending the characteristics of the chaotic void refining stage. The reason for this was that he always felt that there was something extra in his soul. After entering the chaotic void refining stage, his Chaos Golden Bead had increased in size, and its surface was wrapped in a circle of bloody light. The bloody light that wrapped around the Golden Soul Bead was different from the bloody energy that had entered his body before. It was of a higher level and would not dissipate. Originally, when he entered the chaotic void refining stage, the Chaos Golden Bead had only increased in size. However, not long after, Shaolin Yu felt as if his head was being pricked by a needle. The pain disappeared as soon as it came. At that time, his Chaos Golden Bead suddenly trembled, and then there was an extra circle of bloody light around the Chaos Golden Bead. At that time, Shaolin Yu only felt that there was a bloody light that was like a sharp sword entering his body. From this, he could guess that the reason why there was an extra circle of bloody light around his Chaos Golden Bead was because of that bloody light. After feeling for a while, Shaolin Yu realized that there was only one benefit that the bloody light circle seemed to bring to his Golden Soul Bead, which was that his soul consciousness was always very clear and the state of his soul was incomparably stable. Before he could feel the changes in the Chaos Demon nascent soul, the sound of a bell reverberated in the secret room. The sound of the bell was to inform the cultivators in the Blood Moon Tower that it was time to leave the Blood Moon Tower. Before entering, the experts of the City Lord Mansion had said that as long as they heard the sound of the bell, they must leave the Blood Moon Tower within 100 breaths. Otherwise, there was a possibility that they would encounter great danger. Xiaoling Yu had also experienced the strangeness of the Blood Moon Tower, so he did not dare to be negligent. He immediately pushed open the door of the secret room and quickly went downstairs. When he arrived at the entrance of the Blood Moon Tower, he saw that there were countless people guarding the place. Xiaoling Yu was a little confused. Before he could leave, someone from the City Lord Mansion shouted, "Everyone, line up and leave one by one." "Brother Xiao, is there a situation outside?" At this time, Xiao Gongzi also arrived in front of Xiaoling Yu and asked with a slightly strange tone. "I don't know. I just arrived here." Xiaoling Yu shook his head and replied. Just as the two of them were talking, Lin Xi's senior sister and Gong He also arrived at the door. Everyone lined up like a human dragon and walked out of the door one by one. On both sides of the exit, there were many experts of the City Lord Mansion who were checking the cultivators leaving the Blood Moon Tower one by one. Soon, it was Xiaoling Yu's turn. The experts of the City Lord Mansion on both sides scanned Xiaoling Yu with their devil sense without any hesitation. After Xiaoling Yu advanced to the chaotic void refining stage, unless a Devil Monarch expert personally came, cultivators below the Devil Monarch realm could not use their devil sense to spy on the situation inside his body. The chaotic devil force of the chaotic void refining stage was originally very advanced. It existed in the body and could help Xiaoling Yu defend against the devil sense of the cultivators. In addition, the chaotic devil force contained blood-colored energy fluctuations, which made it difficult for cultivators below the Devil Monarch realm to spy on Xiaoling Yu. Please lower your defense and let us inspect you. Also, temporarily remove the ownership of your storage magic treasure and spirit beast pouch and accept the inspection. A mystic devil stage expert of the City Lord Mansion said to Xiaoling Yu, not allowing him to refuse. When I came in, I didn't hear that I had to undergo this kind of inspection. Xiaoling Yu frowned and replied. This is a special situation. Please cooperate. The mystic devil stage expert continued. What if I don't accept? Xiaoling Yu said unhappily. Not to mention a cultivator like Xiaoling Yu who had many secrets, even ordinary cultivators would not accept such a rude request. Most of the cultivators in front of him just now were cultivators with low cultivation. They naturally did not dare to disobey the request of the City Lord Mansion's mystic devil stage expert and could only helplessly cooperate. However, Xiaoling Yu would not agree to such a request. If you don't accept, then try and see if you can rush out. The City Lord Mansion's mystic devil stage expert sneered. What's the matter? Xiao Gongzi, who was behind Xiaoling Yu, stood out and asked. Replying to young master, we were ordered by the City Lord to carefully inspect all the cultivators who came out of the Blood Moon Tower, so he is my friend. You don't have to inspect him. There won't be any problems. Xiao Gongzi did not wait for that person to finish speaking and said very righteously. The mystic devil stage expert seemed to be in a difficult position. What, you won't even give this face? Xiao Gongzi narrowed his eyes and said. We don't dare. Young master, please. The mystic devil stage expert quickly stepped aside and made way for him. Thank you, Brother Xia. After Xiaoling Yu came out of the Blood Moon Tower, he cupped his fists and thanked Xiao Gongzi. And from the attitude of the City Lord Mansion's mystic devil stage expert, Xiaoling Yu could guess that this Xiao Gongzi was probably the City Lord's son. It's just a small matter. There's no need to thank me. Xiao Gongzi laughed generously. Xiaoling Yu did not accept the inspection, and neither did Gong He and Lin Xi's senior sister. Along the way, many of the experts outside recognized Xiao Gongzi and did not dare to stop them. After all, those who could come at this time were originally from Blood Moon City. After passing through layers of cultivators, Xiaoling Yu first sent a message to Zhu Jin. After getting a reply, he went to meet up with him. After seeing Zhu Jin and Sang Ju, Xiaoling Yu and the others understood why there were so many experts outside the Blood Moon Tower. Although Shaolin Yu's expression did not change, his mind was already in turmoil. His intuition told him that this matter had something to do with him. Thinking that there would be many experts coming to Blood Moon City soon, Shaolin Yu said goodbye to Shagonzi. Blood Moon City was no longer the safest place. Shagonzi and Lin Shi's senior sister did not ask them to stay. They even took the initiative to send Shaolin Yu and the others out of the city. After leaving Blood Moon City, Shaolin Yu took Zhu Jin and the others and flew away. They randomly chose a place and flew at full speed. Tell our brothers in the bandit group to continue hiding. Don't act blindly without thinking. After flying at full speed for 3 hours, Shaolin Yu stopped in a small mountain forest. After giving some instructions, he directly opened up a simple cave residence and went in to meditate in seclusion. When Shaolin Yu and the entire Heavenly Bandits disappeared without a trace, experts from all over the world rushed to Blood Moon City. However, due to the previous turmoil in the Blood Moon continent, too many experts were attracted. At this time, there were not many cultivators who could reach Blood Moon City. Chapter 298. After replying to Lin Shi's message, Shaolin Yu first closed his eyes and meditated for another 2 hours before coming out of seclusion. After greeting Zhu Jin and the other two, he leaped up and flew out of the forest. After about 10 minutes, Shaolin Yu stopped in front of a small mountain and spread out his consciousness completely. There really is a problem. Under the coverage of his consciousness, Shaolin Yu saw that Lin Shi was sitting alone on a green rock at the foot of the mountain. There were a few weak auras hidden in the corners nearby. If not for the fact that Shaolin Yu's soul realm had increased by a large realm after entering the Blood Moon Tower, he might not have been able to detect those weak consciousnesses. He actually lured me here, and there is an ambush around. Although he thought of this, Shaolin Yu still walked over with a smile. Brother Lin, why did you only appear now? Shaolin Yu greeted Lin Shi when he was still 100 feet away. Brother Xiao, when Lin Shi saw Shaolin Yu, he seemed a little excited. However, after the excitement, his face suddenly darkened and he glanced to the side. Brother Xiao, you shouldn't have come today, Lin Shi said with a wry smile. What's the matter? Shaolin Yu asked, seemingly puzzled. Sigh. Lin Shi only sighed. At this moment, the few auras that were hidden very weakly were suddenly released completely. Several cultivators surrounded them from all directions. Shaolin Yu looked around, but his expression did not change at all. He knew these people and had even competed with them in drinking. Could it be that you haven't drunk enough and want to compete with me in drinking? When they came closer, Shaolin Yu asked with a smile. There is no need for a drinking competition. We want to compete with you in fighting. The cultivator surnamed Dean, who was a mid-stage spirit demon, said with a dark expression. I don't have time for that. Shaolin Yu shook his head and said. This is not a restaurant in Blood Moon City. There are not so many rules to restrict us. Do you think you can refuse? The cultivator surnamed Mao said angrily. I think all of you should be more rational. It's not worth it to lose your lives over some meaningless fight of loyalty, Shaolin Yu said in a reprimanding tone. Humph. You're too arrogant. The cultivator surnamed Dean angrily shouted and the aura around his body began to surge. The same was true for the other three. I hope you can give me a satisfactory explanation later. Shaolin Yu didn't raise her aura to prepare for battle. Instead, she said to Lin Shi expressionlessly. Hearing this, Lin Shi could only smile bitterly. Attack together. The cultivator surnamed Dean shouted and charged towards Shaolin Yu with a devilish sword in hand. The other three also followed behind, each holding a weapon. It seemed that they didn't intend to fight Shaolin Yu, but rather to fight in close quarters. Shaolin Yu was now at the early stage of the chaotic void refinement stage. Although her realm was comparable to the spirit demon stage, her strength was definitely stronger than any spirit demon stage expert. Even if she encountered an early profound demon stage expert, she still had the power to fight. Moreover, if they wanted to fight in close quarters, the cultivator surnamed Yin and the other three would definitely make the wrong choice. The cultivator surnamed Yin's devilish sword was the first to strike, but when it was half a foot away from Xiaoling Yu's throat, it was caught by Xiaoling Yu's 2 fingers. The cultivator surnamed Yin was shocked. Before he could recover, the other party's 2 fingers suddenly pulled back and his body continued to move forward along with the devilish sword. When the other party came closer, Xiaoling Yu kicked the cultivator surnamed Yin's abdomen. A sharp pain came from his abdomen, and at this moment, the demon infant also suffered a heavy shock, causing his cultivation to stop at this moment. Naturally, his body involuntarily flew out like a cannonball. The quality of the cultivator surnamed Yin's devilish sword was not low, almost a top-grade devilish sword, but at this time, it was still caught by Xiaoling Yu's 2 fingers. Seeing that the cultivator surnamed Mao had also rushed forward, Xiaoling Yu waved her arm, and the devilish sword between her 2 fingers shot out like lightning, directly piercing the cultivator surnamed Mao's heart. The devilish sword was too fast, and the cultivator surnamed Mao couldn't dodge at all. He could only tilt his body and slash the devilish sword in his hand. After a sharp clang, the devilish sword was split, but a huge force surged from the devilish sword, directly shaking the cultivator surnamed Mao's hand. His forward momentum was also stopped. The other 2 cultivators' cultivation was slightly lower, and they rushed over at this time, but Xiaoling Yu had already stretched out her arms, and 2 poisonous flames gushed out from her palms. The surging poisonous flames quickly turned into 2 poisonous dragons, sweeping up the 2 cultivators who had just rushed over. In an instant, the poisonous flames dissipated, and the 2 cultivators turned into drops of poisonous liquid, dripping down from the sky. Even the demon infant and nascent spirit couldn't escape in time. The 2 cultivators surnamed Yin and Mao were shocked. They never thought that in addition to being good at drinking, the other party's strength was also so strong. Just now, the 4 of them had attacked together, but it was easily resolved by the other party. From this, it could be seen that the other party's strength far exceeded theirs. The cultivator surnamed Yin didn't expect this, and after thinking for a moment, he turned around to flee. However, just as he turned around, he felt an extremely terrifying aura coming from behind him. With his speed, he couldn't shake it off, so he turned around and threw out a devilish talisman. The devilish talisman collided with Xiaoling Yu's primal chaos devilish seal, and the 2 immediately exploded at the same time. The center of the explosion wasn't even 50 feet away from the cultivator surnamed Yin. The powerful impact of the explosion instantly affected his body. His defensive barrier and high-grade devilish armor lasted less than a breath's time before they shattered, and his relatively weak body exploded soon after. When Xiaoling Yu was at the peak of the late-stage primal chaos polymerization realm, the primal chaos devilish seal was enough to destroy high-grade devilish artifacts. Now that he had reached the primal chaos spatial tempering realm, not only had the quality of his primal chaos devilish seal greatly improved, but it had also undergone some changes. Its power was more than 100 times stronger than before, and even a top-grade devilish artifact would find it difficult to completely defend against it. The cultivator surnamed Mao had chosen to escape just now, but when Xiaoling Yu threw out the primal chaos seal, he also threw out a demonic nascent soul palm. The devilish palms that filled the sky were like a tide, drowning the cultivator surnamed Mao in an instant. With just a round of palm attacks, the cultivator surnamed Mao died. After ending the battle in a few breaths' time, Xiaoling Yu didn't stop for a moment. He immediately grabbed Lin Qi's shoulder and flew away quickly. It was precisely because he could kill the other party so easily that Xiaoling Yu came over despite knowing that there was an ambush here. You've reached the mystic demon realm? Why can't I see through your cultivation? Lin Qi recovered from his shock at this moment and asked with incomparable astonishment. I think you should first explain what happened today to me, Xiaoling Yu said indifferently as he flew. Lin Qi's face was immediately filled with bitterness. After pondering for a while, he said, I was also forced to do so. Not long after you cut the queue and went to the tea house, I was found by the 4 of them while I was waiting in line. Then, they provoked me verbally and asked me to go out of the city to fight one of them one-on-one. You didn't really follow them, did you? Xiaoling Yu asked with a smile. Their words were too harsh, and it's true that martial arts can't be used in the city. So in a moment of anger, I went out with them, Lin Qi said gloomily. I guess that after you went out, they must have ganged up on you and captured you on the spot. No one wanted to fight you one-on-one, Shaolin Yu guessed. I didn't expect that they were also the disciples of a big family. With their reputations, they would actually go back on their words and do such a despicable thing, Lin Shi said disdainfully. Shaolin Yu and Lin Shi had known each other for a long time. He knew that this fellow was indeed very gullible. Moreover, he had too little experience in the pugilistic world, so it was inevitable that he would encounter such a situation. How could I be a match for the four of them? They captured me in a few moves. Then, they forced me to help them find you, you agreed? Before Lin Shi could finish, Shaolin Yu interrupted him with a cold tone. I agreed. Because if I didn't, they would kill me. Lin Shi nodded and continued, at first, I thought that they wouldn't dare to kill me, so I didn't agree. But later on, they kept torturing me in various ways. After I persevered for a while, they became impatient. In order to save my life, I could only cooperate with them. Hearing this, Shaolin Yu frowned slightly. He thought to himself that Lin Shi wasn't suitable to be his friend. To be honest, at that time, I thought that the two of us didn't have a deep friendship, nor were we close. I only wanted to rope you and your gang into the Chepo sect to gain the favor of Master. If I lost my life just because of this, it really wasn't worth it. I know that you must think that I'm a vile person with no sense of loyalty. Speaking up to here, Lin Shi secretly glanced at Shaolin Yu. Seeing that Shaolin Yu's expression didn't change much, he continued, I plotted with others to harm you. If you want to kill me, I have no complaints. There's no need to kill you, but you don't have to contact me in the future. After Shaolin Yu finished speaking, he let go of Lin Shi and changed directions. With a few flashes, he disappeared into the horizon. Lin Shi's body was originally restricted by the four people, but he had already regained his freedom. He looked in the direction where Shaolin Yu had disappeared and muttered with a sigh, this is a true hero, a true elite. After returning to the small forest where he temporarily settled down, Shaolin Yu continued to meditate in seclusion, trying his best to digest the progress he made in the Blood Moon Tower. At this time, around the Blood Moon Tower in Blood Moon City, cultivators from all over the Blood Moon continent had completely surrounded the tower. The cultivators who were slightly further away couldn't see the tall Blood Moon Tower. Everyone had been gathered here for too long, and there were times when they couldn't bear it anymore. The blockade of the Blood Moon Tower by the City Lord's mansion had made everyone angry. Finally, someone made a move. Everyone seemed to have found a way to vent their anger and rushed towards the Blood Moon Tower like a swarm of bees. The experts of the Blood Moon continent immediately engaged in a fierce battle with the City Lord's mansion. Chapter 299. The city guards, who had been used to control and deter those who dared to cause trouble in Blood Moon City, had become the target of attack. Although the city guards were powerful, they could not withstand the siege of a large number of cultivators. After all, there was no lack of experts among the cultivators who besieged Blood Moon Tower. Among the first to attack, there were those who had been treated unfairly by the city guards of Blood Moon City. The mysterious demon stage cultivator who had released his aura to teach Lin Shi a lesson in Flowing Pearl Tower was the first to attack. He was not like the other cultivators who were eager to enter Blood Moon Tower to find the treasure, but purely wanted to ignite everyone's anger and teach the city guards of Blood Moon City a lesson. The city guards could only hold on for less than half an hour before the gate of Blood Moon Tower was breached. The city guards retreated into Blood Moon Tower, but their enemies also rushed in. The battle was extremely fierce. Many cultivators were not only after the groundless treasure in Blood Moon Tower. Some wanted to loot the burning house, some wanted to vent their resentment against the city guards, and some even just wanted to kill. A strong smell of blood pervaded the surroundings of Blood Moon Tower, filling the Blood Moon Tower, making everyone more and more irritable. When there was a battle, there would be people who bled, and there would also be people who died on the spot or were beheaded. Blood flowed on the stone slabs of each floor of Blood Moon Tower, making the bloody radiance of the hexagons even more bright and bewitching. Maybe because there were too many cultivators participating in the battle, or maybe because the battle was too fierce, or maybe because of other reasons, In short, the incomparably thick Blood Moon Tower actually began to tremble. Looking from the outside, the entire Blood Moon Tower once again shone with bloody light. What was even more surprising was that even though it was daytime, the crimson full moon that should have been hiding somewhere actually appeared and hung high in the sky. For countless years, this was the first time that the bloody full moon appeared in daytime. This naturally made the cultivators of the entire Blood Moon land incomparably surprised. Almost all the cultivators who had reached Mysterious Demon stage and above put down the matter at hand and flew at full speed towards Blood Moon City. Their faces were very tense and solemn. They should know something. Xiaoling Yu was different from those experts. He knew that the situation in Blood Moon City was complicated and very dangerous. Therefore, he didn't go to Blood Moon City. Instead, he took Xu Jin and the other two away from Blood Moon City. He also ordered the members of the Heavenly Bandits to stay away from this dangerous place. However, what Xiaoling Yu did not expect was that as the blood-colored full moon grew brighter and brighter, a faint layer of blood-colored light also appeared on his body. Furthermore, this light was becoming more and more obvious. No matter how he suppressed or hid it, it would still seep out of his body. What's wrong with the first master? Xu Jin asked in surprise. I'm not too sure either, but it's better for us to hide as soon as possible. Xiaoling Yu shook her head in response and increased her speed. Blood Moon City was already in chaos. Because at this time, the city guards were already tired of protecting themselves and the Blood Moon Tower, the order of the entire Blood Moon City was naturally not maintained by anyone. Many cultivators had crooked thoughts and decided to loot a burning house. Many shops that were not guarded by experts became the targets of their looting. It should be known that in Blood Moon City, there were originally countless vicious people who came to take refuge. In the past, they would obediently stay in Blood Moon City, but now that Blood Moon City was in such a situation, it was inevitable that they would reveal their true nature. Gradually, the entire Blood Moon City became a killing field. Everywhere, there was a foul wind and a rain of blood. Blood flowed like a river, and the ground was almost completely dyed red. The Blood Moon Tower trembled more and more violently, and the blood-colored full moon in the sky began to cast countless rays of piercing moonlight. Boom! Suddenly, an earth-shaking explosion sounded in Blood Moon City. An unparalleled shock wave of imposing aura swept out from the Blood Moon Tower. In an instant, the entire Blood Moon City was razed to the ground, but it still continued to spread in all directions. That powerful shock wave of imposing aura spread for thousands of miles before stopping. Although Xiaoling Yu was already far away from Blood Moon City, he could still clearly feel the existence of that imposing aura, and was even more surprised in his heart. Along the way, Xiaoling Yu also encountered experts from the Blood Moon land, but they did not even look at him and directly flew away, which made him feel very strange. The place where the imposing aura came from originally towering Blood Moon Tower, but at this time, the Blood Moon Tower had already disappeared, and a blood-colored demonic fog was hovering in the sky. Among the cultivators who rushed into the Blood Moon Tower, only a few mysterious demon experts survived the explosion of the Blood Moon Tower, but they were all seriously injured. What was even more strange was that the melodious sound of the flute actually sounded again, and the entire Blood Moon City was turned into a huge pit. Countless cultivators died at the same time, and those who were lucky enough to survive, as well as those who had just arrived, completely forgot everything. They were intoxicated by the sound of the flute, and their faces were filled with obsession. Boom! First, a dazzling aurora flashed, and then the blood-colored full moon in the sky exploded with a loud bang. Countless blood-colored rays of light like sharp swords fell from the sky like raindrops. At this time, Xiaoling Yu also stood still and looked at the blood-colored rays of light falling from the sky. Like most of the cultivators, he was also at a loss. Before the blood-colored rays of light fell to the ground, they all twisted and turned into demonic creatures of different shapes. These demonic creatures seemed transparent, but their bodies were emitting a blood-colored radiance, which was very strange. As soon as they appeared, they rushed towards Xiaoling Yu and the others from all directions, but when they came close, they were suddenly stunned, as if they had discovered something strange. Xiaoling Yu was about to make the first move to gain the upper hand, but the demonic creatures that came with menacing aura all turned around and left. What's going on? Gong Yi was puzzled. It's probably because of the first master. Zhu Jin looked at Xiaoling Yu and said. Indeed, the radiance on the first master's body is the same as theirs. Gong Yi nodded and said. Let's not worry about this first. Right now, the Blood Moon continent is even more chaotic and incomparably dangerous. We have to leave quickly. Xiaoling Yu said while stroking his chin. The strength of those demonic creatures is not weak. We should go and collect them, otherwise they will definitely be wiped out. Zhu Jin reminded. Send a message to them now and let them come closer. Xiaoling Yu nodded and ordered. In less than 4 hours, the bandits of the Heaven-Smiting Bandit group had gathered. However, their numbers were less than 1% of the original number. Almost all of the ordinary bandits whose strength had not reached the Devil King stage had died. The 3 hunchbacked old men from the East Pole Devil Sect's Imperial Beast Hall, who had been arranged by Xiaoling Yu to stay in the bandit group, had also come out unscathed. Fortunately, Xiaoling Yu had told the bandit group's leaders to take good care of these 3 people. Otherwise, it was hard to say if they would have made it out alive. The heavenly bandits suffered a huge loss, but after they gathered around Xiaoling Yu, the demonic creatures that had been attacking them before did not attack them again. Suddenly, everyone was safe. This also made the members of the heavenly bandits believe that this first master was definitely worth following. First master, what should we do next? Zhu Jin asked a little worriedly after settling the bandits down. Let's find a place to hide first and wait for this storm to pass. Xiaoling Yu thought for a moment and said. Great master, I feel that those experts were heading towards Blood Moon City without any intention of stopping. They must have known that there would be danger, so they hurried to Blood Moon City to take the teleportation array and leave. Gong Yi suddenly interjected. Great master, I feel that those experts were heading towards Blood Moon City without any intention of stopping. That is indeed a possibility, but even if we rush over now, it will be too late. Moreover, I feel that Blood Moon City is definitely very dangerous. Rather than rushing over now, it would be better for us to lie low for a while. Xiaoling Yu nodded and said. Let's listen to First Master. Sam Ju agreed. After deciding on the plan, the heavenly bandits continued to move with their backs facing Blood Moon City under the leadership of Xiaoling Yu. What made everyone feel at ease was that with Xiaoling Yu in the bandit group, most of the demonic creatures that were wreaking havoc would not come close. Even if there were some that came close, they would directly leave after observing for a while. Not long after, the heavenly bandits finally found a place to hide. It was a cave behind a waterfall. The entrance of the cave was very small, only allowing one person to pass through sideways. But after walking for a while, the cave became spacious. In a relatively spacious area of the cave, Xiaoling Yu had everyone dig out a few simple caves for them to rest and recuperate. He himself blocked the entrance of the cave to prevent any demonic creatures from flying in and attacking them. Xiaoling Yu actually did not realize how serious the problem was. At this time, there were countless demonic creatures wreaking havoc on the entire Blood Moon land. In less than a day, 99% of the cultivators on the Blood Moon land had died. Only a few cultivators who were not weak or had the protection of experts were still alive, and many of them were in a precarious situation. However, Xiaoling Yu's choice was very wise for the heavenly bandits as a whole. If the entire heavenly bandits were to move towards Blood Moon City, they would not be able to use the teleportation formation to leave because there were simply no cultivators that could get close to it. Although the teleportation formation at the gate of Blood Moon City was not destroyed, it was surrounded by countless demonic creatures. Moreover, these demonic creatures were obviously very strong. Most importantly, on a towering pillar of the teleportation formation, there was a woman wearing a red gauze dress. Her eyes were closed and she was playing a flute. The woman's appearance was incomparably beautiful, but even with her eyes closed, it was difficult to conceal the melancholy and grief between her brows. The flute was blood red, as if it was condensed from blood. It looked very strange, but the sound of the flute that flowed out from it was melodious and mellow, causing people to be intoxicated. The woman's sorrowful expression and the clear and cheerful sound of the flute were so different and disharmonious, but also seemed to be completely natural. It was unknown whether it was because of the pleasant sound of the flute or because of the woman's special temperament. In short, those high-level demonic creatures had been surrounding her, but did not dare to get too close to the teleportation formation. Chapter 300. There were many cultivators and sects that didn't realize that they had to leave the Blood Moon continent or were too far away from Blood Moon City. Like the heaven-smiting bandit group, they all chose to hide after seeing that there were too many demons and their strength wasn't weak. However, those demons seemed to be particularly sensitive to the aura of life, and their searching ability was very strong. They could always find the hiding place of everyone and attack them. There were fewer and fewer lives on the Blood Moon continent. The boundless blood-red color shrouded the entire continent. Demons flew around wantonly. They were like demons who had lost their minds. Wherever there was the aura of life, they would rush there, as if they wanted to completely cut off the vitality of the Blood Moon continent. Many cultivators realized that they must leave the Blood Moon continent. Otherwise, they would be killed by these demons sooner or later. Therefore, after hiding for a period of time, they began to slowly move in the direction of the Blood Moon City. Rather than waiting for death, it was better to struggle. Maybe there really was a chance to leave the Blood Moon continent. Xiaoling Yu, on the other hand, wasn't in a hurry. Those devilish creatures would eventually find their way to the waterfall, but they would leave after seeing him. The cultivators of the heaven-smiting bandit band wouldn't be in any danger if they followed him. However, Xiaoling Yu also knew that hiding like this was not a long-term solution. When the Blood Moon continent calmed down a little, he would leave. Moreover, now that Xiaoling Yu had reached the chaotic void refining stage, he had enough strength to fight for the space between the two worlds and go to the immortal world. It was time for him to go to the east of the demon world. Anya shouldn't have ascended yet. I wonder how her Shuntian Academy is doing. Xiaoling Yu sat on a black stone at the entrance of the cave. He was somewhat nostalgic for the days in the cultivation world's chaotic astral ocean. One day, 3 months later, Xiaoling Yu, who was closing his eyes to comprehend the characteristics of the chaotic void refining stage, suddenly opened his eyes and stood up. After 2 breaths, a group of no less than 100 cultivators quickly moved to the side of the waterfall. One of the cultivators had been scanning the surroundings with his demonic sense. It seemed that he also found a cave here. Moreover, this cave was easy to defend and difficult to attack, so he flew over with his people. However, after he found Xiaoling Yu with his demonic sense, he did not dare to get too close. However, they had a large number of people and a large number of demons were chasing after them. Along the way, other demons constantly joined in the chase. They had to find a place to rest and reorganize. The leading cultivator should be at the mystic demon stage. He was very puzzled. Although there were many demonic creatures around the waterfall, none of them took the initiative to attack the cultivators standing at the entrance of the cave. Moreover, that cultivator's body was overflowing with a misty bloody light, which was no different from the demonic creatures, and the cultivator's face sank and he said, "The Blood Moon continent is in danger. Can't fellow Taoists cooperate with us and kill our way out of the Blood Moon continent?" Xiaoling Yu said indifferently, "It's not that I don't want to save you, but there are already many of my people hiding in this cave. Moreover, their strength is far inferior to yours. If you go in and cause trouble, I'm afraid that we will all die in your hands even if we are not devoured by these demons. I can understand fellow Taoists' caution, but we really have no way out. If we go around this place and continue to move forward, I'm afraid that we will be devoured by these demons before we can find another place to hide. I hope fellow Taoist can make an exception." The reason why he was so polite was that although this cultivator was at the profound demon stage, he could not see through Xiaoling Yu's strength. He took it for granted that Xiaoling Yu was at the same profound demon stage as himself, and might even be stronger than him. I really can't agree to this. After all, these are my people. I can take care of them, but I don't have to take care of you at all. You also know that the Blood Moon continent is very dangerous right now. It's not easy for us to protect ourselves, so how can we take care of others? Xiaoling Yu said with a deeply troubled expression. The cultivator found with his devil sense that countless demons had surrounded the waterfall, and the people he brought were getting fewer and fewer. He made up his mind and his body flashed, directly rushing in front of Xiaoling Yu and slapping him with his palm. After all, Xiaoling Yu had just entered the chaotic void refining stage. In terms of speed, he was far inferior to this profound demon stage expert, so he could not dodge this palm at all. However, Xiaoling Yu did not dodge, but fearlessly met the opponent's palm head-on. Bang! The two palms fiercely collided with each other and then quickly separated. Xiaoling Yu took 2 steps back, and because his back was pressed against the stone wall, he was able to stabilize himself. However, his opponent only took 1 step back to stabilize himself. However, the opponent was attacking, while Xiaoling Yu was defending. To be able to receive the opponent's attack like this, he was not at a disadvantage. The opponent also knew this, so after that palm strike, he could already judge Xiaoling Yu's strength, so he did not dare to make another move. The cultivator had already consumed a lot of energy on the way here, so how could he dare to go all out against an expert of the same level? Fellow Taoist, if I fight with my life on the line, even if I can't win, I'm afraid you won't have time to take care of your people. The cultivator threatened. You can try. Xiaoling Yu laughed without fear. Right now, our enemies are these demonic creatures. Why should we waste our energy fighting them? How about this, you tell me what method you use to make these demons not dare to come close to you, and I'll leave with my people. How about that? The cultivator said calmly. I can't tell you that, and even if I tell you, you can't do the same as me. Xiaoling Yu shook his head. Sir, are you trying to force us into a dead end? The cultivator glared and said angrily. I'm only responsible for my people, and your lives have nothing to do with me. Xiaoling Yu said calmly. You! The cultivator's eyes widened, but after a moment, he said, we can join you and become your people, no matter what you do. How about that? Xiaoling Yu smiled and said, that's a good suggestion, but if you want to join, you have to show some sincerity. I won't believe empty words. The cultivator nodded and replied, we can make an oath, but not to be loyal to you forever, and to join you without any disloyalty. Xiaoling Yu continued, you have to add one more thing, and that is to listen to my orders. The cultivator hesitated for a moment. He knew that the other party was not easy to fool, and the situation on his side was too dangerous, so he gritted his teeth and said, okay, it's decided. I'll make an oath first, so you can rest assured, right? Xiaoling Yu nodded and said, other than you, I won't care too much about the others. After the cultivator made the oath, Xiaoling Yu opened the entrance and took the initiative to fly out. When Xiaoling Yu arrived at the crowd, the demonic creatures that were pouncing from all directions all stopped halfway, then obediently turned around and left, causing these cultivators to be incomparably astonished. With Xiaoling Yu's cover, the hundreds of cultivators all safely entered the cave. To be safe, Xiaoling Yu made the cultivators make an oath one by one, and then let Zhu Jin arrange for them to open a temporary cave abode. After spending a day together, everyone understood each other. This group of cultivators actually came from a second-rate sect. The mysterious demon stage cultivator from before was called Su Jin, and he was the head of that second-rate sect. They originally had thousands of people heading towards Blood Moon City, but now there were less than 100 people left. But among these 100 people, except for a few talented cultivators, the rest were all late Demon King stage cultivators and above. There were more than 60 true demon stage cultivators, 8 spirit demon stage cultivators, and only 1 mysterious demon stage cultivator. With these 100 people joining the Heavenly Bandits, it immediately increased the strength of the Heavenly Bandits greatly. Su Jin actually didn't understand. The leader of the Heavenly Bandits was clearly not weaker than a mysterious demon stage cultivator, but why did he only have a few true demon stage cultivators, and not a single spirit demon stage cultivator? What was the use of the Heavenly Bandits bringing these low-level cultivators? Xiaoling Yu naturally wouldn't explain so much to Su Jin. If it weren't for special circumstances, Sujin wouldn't have sworn an oath to him, and he definitely wouldn't have agreed to listen to his orders in the future. If everyone was in their best condition, and the surrounding environment wasn't so bad, Shaolin Yu might not be able to win against Sujin. As for winning, it was almost impossible. After all, Sujin wasn't an early mysterious demon stage cultivator, but a middle mysterious demon stage cultivator. What Shaolin Yu didn't expect was that the addition of Sujin and the others was just the beginning. Because this place wasn't very far from Blood Moon City, and almost all the surviving cultivators on the Blood Moon continent were rushing towards Blood Moon City, many of them would naturally pass by this waterfall, and it would be easy for them to find this cave and come closer. As long as someone came close, Shaolin Yu would bring Sujin to block the entrance. After a few exchanges of words, those who were rushing over would have to obediently join the Heavenly Bandits. As for those demon monarchs or late mysterious demon stage cultivators, they were the peak existences of the Blood Moon continent. They had already rushed to the vicinity of Blood Moon City, so naturally they wouldn't bump into the Heavenly Bandits here. However, this was only Shaolin Yu's imagination. Under normal circumstances, this was the case, but he couldn't rule out special circumstances. After a full 3 years, the Blood Moon continent was still covered in blood, and demons ran rampant. However, the Heavenly Bandits used this opportunity to greatly increase their strength. Not only did they have 3 middle mysterious demon stage cultivators and 5 early mysterious demon stage cultivators, they also had close to 100 spirit demon stage cultivators, and close to 500 true demon stage cultivators. With such strength, they were actually the best among the second-rate sections. Chapter 301. Get out of the way. What Shaolin Yu didn't expect was that this group of cultivators was different from the previous ones. Not only were there more than 500 of them, but they were also filled with killing intent. Their cultivation was also at the late stage of the Demon King realm. Moreover, the leader didn't even greet them. After a loud roar, he directly slashed out a blade ray. Not good, it's the late stage of the mystic demon realm. After Sujin reminded everyone, he shot out a demon talisman. The demon talisman flew out of the cave and turned into a black shield, but it was immediately torn apart by the blade ray. The blade ray's power weakened a lot. When it reached the cave entrance, another mid-stage true demon realm cultivator blocked it. Get out of the way! This time, the late-stage mystic demon realm experts slashed out 3 blade rays, each one more powerful than the last. Shaolin Yu and the others acted together and blocked the 3 blade rays. However, they were all forced back a few steps. Why are you scoundrels here? Get out of the way from my God-morning bandit group. The newcomer angrily cursed. Then, the demonic blade in his hand flew into the air and suddenly expanded 100 times. With a mighty aura, it slashed down from the sky. Get out of the way, it's a top-grade demonic weapon. Sujin reminded again. Then, he and the other mystic demon realm experts dodged into the depths of the cave. This blade might not cause too much damage to the mystic demon realm experts who wanted to dodge, but the cultivators in the cave who hadn't reached the mystic demon realm would definitely suffer heavy casualties. They couldn't let this blade land. Shaolin Yu quickly formed a primal chaos demon seal and hid it above his head. Then, the silver moon broken blade appeared in Shaolin Yu's hand. A primal chaos blade ray whizzed out and chased after the primal chaos demon seal. Rumbling sounds continuously came from above the cave. The entire waterfall and everything around it trembled violently at this moment. The demonic blade was blocked by Shaolin Yu and returned to its original state, falling into the newcomer's hand. Shaolin Yu put away the silver moon broken blade and said calmly, I advise you to talk things out. Otherwise, if you continue to fight, it won't do you any good. At this time, several mysterious demon experts once again gathered in front of Shaolin Yu. They were also a little surprised by Shaolin Yu's performance. Previously, they didn't see that this great master actually had the ability to take an all-out attack from a late-stage mysterious demon expert. Before Shaolin Yu could reply, a sound that sounded like the roar of a ferocious beast was heard. Then, a torrential wave of blood surged over from afar. The dense smell of blood accompanied by a vast and mighty aura surged over together. It actually gave people the feeling that a 1,000,000-meter-tall mountain was about to collapse in front of them. What made people's scalp tingle was that after the roar, there was another roar like the roar of a raging tide. It was obvious that this was the roar of countless demonic creatures. No wonder the expert of the Divine Morning Bandit group was so anxious just now. It turned out that there was a group of powerful demonic creatures chasing after them. In just 2 breaths, the blood wave had submerged the waterfall, and then Shaolin Yu heard the screams of cultivators. Shaolin Yu's eyesight was good. He could clearly see that the cultivators were surrounded by those demonic creatures, and then torn to pieces by those demonic creatures, turning into a cloud of blood mist. The master of the late stage of the mysterious demon stage should have already resisted these demonic creatures, so he didn't choose to resist at all, but rushed to the entrance of the cave again, followed by several mysterious demon stage experts and a group of spirit demon stage cultivators. Among the demonic creatures, there must be a very powerful existence. Shaolin Yu was not sure whether these powerful demonic creatures would give him face, so after a quick calculation in his heart, he let the other party enter the cave. The other party was a master. Although the entrance of the cave was not big, they could still all rush in a moment. Only a few mysterious demon stage experts and a dozen spirit demon stage experts rushed in. The rest of the Divine Morning Bandit group's cultivators were all mercilessly killed by those demonic creatures. When those demonic creatures chased to the entrance of the cave, after seeing Shaolin Yu, they were stunned for a moment, then turned around and retreated. But after 2 breaths of time, a demonic creature emerged from the billowing blood waves with its huge basin. Its 2 fuzzy eyes stared at Shaolin Yu. Its expression was very strange. From the demonic creature, Shaolin Yu felt a momentum that was far beyond the mysterious demon stage cultivators, giving him a feeling that it was difficult to match. Shaolin Yu had already held the silver moon broken sword in his hand. If this demonic creature made a slight move, he could only choose to fight back. The reason why he let the masters of the Divine Morning Bandit group come in was that if he couldn't make these demonic creatures retreat, with the masters of the Divine Morning Bandit group here, it would be safer for everyone to resist together. The demonic creature that revealed its huge basin stared at Shaolin Yu for a while, then slowly hid its basin in the blood waves. The billowing blood waves rolled away, and in a few moments, the waterfall was restored to its previous appearance. Only some demonic creatures that were not very strong were raging around. Phew! Shaolin Yu and the others heaved a long sigh of relief, especially the masters of the Divine Morning Bandit group. They all looked like they had just survived a calamity. After waiting for a while, the late mysterious demon stage expert asked, "What's with the radiance on your body?" "If your excellency doesn't want to be chased by those demonic creatures again, then don't ask so much," Shaolin Yu replied indifferently. "I'm just asking, nothing else. We'll also open up some caves here. After resting for a while, we'll leave. We won't disturb everyone." After the late mysterious demon stage expert finished speaking, he didn't wait for Shaolin Yu to reply and led the Divine Morning Bandit group's experts to open up caves in the depths of the cave. Due to the presence of the Divine Morning Bandit group's experts, the atmosphere in the caves suddenly became tense. After all, there was a late mysterious demon stage expert among them. Moreover, their overall strength was not weak. If they attacked the heavenly bandits inside, letting them in before would undoubtedly be inviting a wolf into the house. It was also because they were too strong that Shaolin Yu didn't dare to forcibly drive them out. He also didn't think that these experts would be willing to join the heavenly bandits. He could only turn a blind eye to their arrival. The Divine Morning Bandit group's experts were well behaved. They had been in secluded cultivation all this time, and didn't come out to disturb everyone. Shaolin Yu continued to lead the heavenly bandits experts to the entrance of the cave, waiting for people to pass by, waiting for them to be absorbed into the heavenly bandits. Another half a year passed. Suddenly, the late mysterious demon stage expert of the Divine Morning Bandit group walked to the entrance of the cave and said, "Are you also a bandit group?" "So what if we are?" Shaolin Yu calmly replied. "To be able to develop a bandit group like you in the Blood Moon continent is indeed very difficult. Of course, there is no need to doubt the strength of the great leader, the person said in a seemingly praising tone. I feel that as bandits, we shouldn't beat around the bush. If you have anything to say, it's better for your excellency to be direct, Xiaoling Yu calmly said. All right, I'll be direct. Just now, the soul jade tablet of our great leader of the Divine Morning Bandit group shattered, the person said with some grief. And then? Xiaoling Yu's expression still didn't change in the slightest. The great leader has already died. Our Divine Morning Bandit group has also suffered heavy losses. We basically exist in name only. However, we are used to the life of bandits. If we were to do something else, we would. The person stopped speaking at this point. However, Xiaoling Yu didn't seem to have any intention of speaking. The reason why Xiaoling Yu didn't speak was because he knew what the person wanted to say. He wanted to wait for the person to finish his sentence. He didn't want to ask or say it himself. Let's be direct. I see that the great leader is also a person with courage and strength. Therefore, I want to take the remaining few brothers and join you. At this point, the person saw Xiaoling Yu's frown and continued, Great leader, don't be in a hurry to refuse. Let me continue. First of all, if we join you, we definitely won't covet the position of great leader. We will definitely listen to your orders. Second, we definitely can't stay on the Blood Moon continent anymore. In the future, we will have to go to other continents to develop. The Divine Morning Bandit group used to go to other continents frequently. We have a lot of experience. Xiaoling Yu pondered for a moment and said, How can I trust you? You definitely won't swear allegiance to me, right? The person said, There's no need to swear an oath. If great leader is truly a hero and has real ability, how can you not control your subordinates? Are you afraid that we will rebel? Xiaoling Yu smiled and said, Although I have some real ability, I'm not a hero. Moreover, I'm not in the bandit group most of the time. I don't really care about how the bandit group develops. How about we sign a contract of cooperation? The person suggested. This, Xiaoling Yu seemed to hesitate. However, he soon said, Okay. The so-called contract of cooperation actually required an oath. However, it required both parties to swear an oath. Moreover, the contents of the oath had to be fair to everyone. Immediately, the two people straightforwardly swore an oath. The overall strength of the heavenly bandits improved by another step. This late-stage profound demon realm expert was called Xiao Liang. He was the second leader of the Divine Morning Bandit group. After he swore an oath, he called out the experts who originally belonged to the Divine Morning Bandit group to greet Xiaoling Yu. Like Xiao Liang, they continued to call Xiaoling Yu as great leader. In other words, they acknowledged Xiaoling Yu's position as great leader. After that, Xiaoling Yu guarded the entrance of the cave by himself, while the rest of the spirit demon and mysterious demon experts of the heaven-smiting bandit group, under the guidance of Zhu Jin, drank wine in the depths of the cave and got to know each other. Chapter 302. He learned from Xiao Liang that the dispute between the major forces of the Blood Moon continent was about to come to an end because the top experts of the Blood Moon continent, the demon monarchs, had already joined the battle. However, no one expected that something would happen in the Blood Moon city. Therefore, when the blood moon in the sky appeared for the first time, the demon monarchs had already retreated from the battlefield and flew towards the Blood Moon city. Many demon monarchs knew of a legend that the blood moon in the sky of the Blood Moon continent was the lifeline of the Blood Moon continent. Once it was destroyed, the entire Blood Moon continent would usher in a catastrophe and all life would disappear. The current situation had confirmed the legend. The leader of the Divine Morning Bandit group, who was a demon monarch expert, had also gone to the Blood Moon city before, but he had already died. From this, it could be seen how serious the catastrophe that the Blood Moon continent was facing was. Even a demon monarch expert couldn't escape. Xiaoling Yu couldn't imagine how anyone in the entire Blood Moon continent could leave alive. Even though he knew that continuing to hide like this wasn't a solution and wouldn't solve the problem, Xiaoling Yu didn't have a better solution. The entire heaven-smiting bandit group didn't have a solution either. He could only wait like this and wait for an opportunity. With Xiaoling Yu around, those demons didn't dare to come close. This made everyone inevitably put all their hopes on Xiaoling Yu. Moreover, they didn't think of any solution. They just waited for Xiaoling Yu's next order. In any case, when everyone left, they brought a lot of magic stones and cultivation materials with them. Even if they stayed here for tens of thousands of years, it wouldn't affect their cultivation. Another 200 years had passed, but the heaven-smiting bandit group hadn't grown much stronger. After all, those who were able to reach this place had already arrived before them. How could those who weren't able to reach this place before the demonic creatures attacked them? The heavenly bandits were still silently waiting for an opportunity in the cave. Xiaoling Yu, who had been guarding the cave entrance, found that the bloody mist in the surroundings had gradually thinned out. The demons were also getting fewer and fewer, and finally, not a single one could be seen. At the same time, Xiaoling Yu also found that the bloody radiance on his body had become much dimmer. Looks like this calamity is finally over. Xiaoling Yu felt a lot more relaxed. She flew out of the cave and flew to the waterfall to check it out. It was the same outside. The blood-red mist was already very thin. Looking as far as the eye could see, there was not a single demon to be found. After Xiaoling Yu observed for a while, she returned to the ground and summoned Xiaoliang, Su Zhen, and the other mysterious devil stage experts. She had everyone split up and look at the situation. Everyone split up and searched. After searching for an entire day, they still couldn't find a single demonic creature, so they all flew back. "Boss, it looks like the calamity has passed. We don't have to stay in that cave anymore," Xiaoliang said with a relaxed expression. "Don't jump to conclusions so early. This place is not far from Blood Moon City. Let's go there and take a look." Xiaoling Yu arranged for Su Zhen and the other 3 mysterious devil stage experts to stay in the cave in case of an accident. Then, she led Xiaoliang and the others to Blood Moon City. Before they arrived at Blood Moon City, Xiaoling Yu and the others had already stopped. Then, they turned around and ran without even looking back. Because they all saw that in the sky above Blood Moon City, there was actually a mass of blood-colored dense clouds that was ceaselessly revolving. It formed a blood-colored vortex, and from within it, waves of aura that was strong to the point that it caused people to feel fear from afar. The most important thing was that Xiaoling Yu and the others heard the sound of a flute from afar. Although the flute sound was melodious and mellow, in the ears of Xiaoling Yu and the others, it was terrifying. There's definitely no living person over there. Could that flute sound be played by a demonic creature? Xiaoliang said in astonishment while flying at full speed. A demonic creature that can play a flute? That's too inconceivable, a mysterious devil stage expert said. Xiaoling Yu's expression was calm. He didn't say anything and just hurried on with his journey. Of course, everyone's originally relaxed mood became heavy again. Whether it was the mass of blood-red dense clouds or the strange flute sound, it all cast a shadow over everyone's heart. Even though they believed in Xiaoling Yu, they couldn't help but feel a little apprehensive. The entire heavenly bandits began to quietly wait again. Xiaoling Yu was still sitting at the entrance of the cave with his stomach as if he was thinking about something. One day, 3 years later, Xiaoling Yu, who was sitting at the entrance of the cave, suddenly narrowed his eyes and stood up. His expression was very nervous because he had suddenly heard that familiar flute sound. At first, he thought that it was an illusion. However, as the flute sound gradually became clearer, the mysterious devil stage experts who were originally meditating in the cave came out one by one with a puzzled and worried expression. "That flute sound seems to be getting closer and closer," Su Zhen said nervously. "First Master, what should we do?" Xiaoliang asked. Before Xiaoling Yu could answer, a torrential wave of blood had already submerged the surroundings of the waterfall. Everything in front of them was a sea of blood. The flute sound was incomparably clear in everyone's ears. Even though everyone activated their cultivation to form a protective barrier, it was difficult to prevent the sound from entering their ears and affecting their souls. Everyone's expressions gradually became sluggish, but they still had intoxicated smiles on their faces. Only Xiaoling Yu felt that the flute sound was a little strange, but he didn't fall into an intoxicated state. The demonic creatures surged forward in the waves of blood. Some of them sensed Xiaolingyu's group, but after pouncing at the entrance of the cave, they stared at Xiaolingyu for a while before turning around and leaving. At most, they would roar at Xiaolingyu. Gradually, the torrential waves of blood surged forward and the surroundings of the waterfall gradually became clear. The flute sound also slowly faded away, but it suddenly stopped at a certain moment. When the flute sound stopped, Su Jin, Xiaoliang, and the others immediately recovered, but they all had confused expressions. However, before Su Jin and the others could ask about the situation, Xiaolingyu, who was standing at the very front, suddenly took a step back. Everyone nervously took a step back and then looked at the entrance of the cave. They couldn't help but feel shocked. At this moment, not far from the entrance of the cave, there was a woman wearing a red gauze dress standing in the water curtain. No matter how the water rushed at her, not a single drop of water touched her body. The reason why everyone was as shocked as Xiaolingyu was because the woman was holding a flute that seemed to be condensed from blood. The woman's red dress fluttered in the wind. She was tall and had a graceful figure. Her eyebrows were picturesque, and her eyes contained limpid autumn water. However, she did not wear shoes, and a pair of snow-white feet accompanied by a lotus root-like ankle was exposed. From the outside, this woman absolutely belonged to the type of beauty that was excessively beautiful, to the point that there was not the slightest trace of a moral aura. Coupled with the sadness between her eyebrows, it caused one to feel a tender feeling when looking at her, and want to embrace her and properly protect her. However, she appeared here after the waves of blood and held a flute in her hand. This made the tender feelings that Xiaolingyu and the others had for her quickly dissipate like snow melting in the spring. Suddenly, a fragrant wind with a faint smell of blood rushed over. The woman floated in front of Xiaolingyu like a gust of wind. Xiaolingyu's heart suddenly tightened. Although he was already holding the silver moon-broken blade in his hand, he didn't have the courage to attack. He intuitively felt that his body had been sealed. No matter how he moved, his opponent would easily break through. The rest of the mysterious demon experts were the same. They were all incomparably shocked, but could only stand there foolishly without moving. The woman didn't release any powerful aura. Just the aura that faintly leaked out from her body was enough to deter Xiaolingyu and the others. She stared at Xiaolingyu for a while, and a look of disappointment appeared on her face. Then, she opened her red lips and said, "If I can't find him, then you'll be in danger. You're just a distraction that he created." After saying this, the woman's figure began to fade until she disappeared. 2 hours after the woman left, Xiaolingyu and the others suddenly regained their senses. They were all panting and wiping the sweat from their foreheads, as if they had just gone through a difficult battle. What did she mean by those words when she left? Xiaoliang looked at Xiaolingyu suspiciously and asked. "That's not important. It's better for us to hurry to Blood Moon City. It should be safe there now." After saying this, Xiaolingyu turned around and entered the cave. After greeting Zhu Jin and the others, he arranged for all the members of the Heavenly Bandits to leave the cave and fly towards Blood Moon City at full speed. Blood Moon City no longer existed, but the teleportation array was still there. Xiaolingyu looked around and asked Xiaoliang, "Where do you think we should teleport to?" Xiaoliang immediately replied, "We have no choice but to teleport to the nearest Crimson Water continent. This teleportation array can't teleport us too far. Then let's go to the Crimson Water continent. It's fine as long as we can leave the Blood Moon continent." Xiaolingyu nodded. Then, under Xiaoliang's arrangement, everyone began to teleport in batches. A few mystical demon experts from the Divine Mourners Bandit group were more familiar with the Crimson Water continent, so they teleported there first to provide support. Then, Xiaoliang accompanied Xiaolingyu to watch the other Heavenly Bandits cultivators teleport. After a full hour, all the Heavenly Bandits members except for Xiaolingyu and Xiaoliang had teleported out of Blood Moon City. Just as Xiaolingyu and Xiaoliang were about to enter the teleportation array, they saw rolling waves of blood rushing towards them from afar. Before they even got close, they could already smell the thick smell of blood and hear the sound of a flute. Xiaoling Yu squinted his eyes and faintly saw a beautiful woman in a red dress standing on top of the rolling waves of blood. She held the flute to her lips. "First Master, let's go quickly." After Xiaoliang reminded him, he entered the teleportation array. Xiaoling Yu didn't delay, but just as he was about to move, the woman flashed from afar like a gust of wind. "If you want to leave, take this with you. It can guarantee your safety this time," the woman said as she handed the flute to Xiaoling Yu. Chapter 303. The Crimson Water Continent was one of the closest continents to the Blood Moon Continent. However, the cultivators there weren't as strong as those on the Blood Moon Continent, and the cultivation resources on the continent weren't abundant. The reason why they chose to come to the Crimson Water Continent was because the cultivators here weren't strong enough to pose a threat to the Heavenly Bandits. Although it was one of the closest continents to the Blood Moon Continent, there was still a vast star field between the two continents. If cultivators below the Demon Emperor realm were to fly, they wouldn't be able to cross the distance even in 10,000 years. Because of the distance, the calamity on the Blood Moon Continent didn't affect the Crimson Water Continent much. The cultivators here were still as usual. The plaza at the entrance of Scarlet Water City was extremely lively. It could be described as a sea of people, and the heaven-smiting bandit group, which numbered close to 1,000, did not stand out in the slightest even if they stood together. "Those demons can't use the teleportation formation, right?" Xiaoliang asked with lingering fear. "Of course not. They aren't physical existences. They're just condensed from special energy. Even if they activate the teleportation formation, they'll be annihilated in the spatial turbulence," Sujin said with certainty. "That beautiful demon woman should be able to teleport, but she doesn't seem to have any intention of harming us," a middle-stage mystic demon cultivator said. "That means we're safe now." Xiaoling Yu rubbed his chin and said, "We're lucky to be able to leave the Blood Moon Continent with the leader. However, I'm afraid the other cultivators on the Blood Moon Continent are doomed." Xiaoliang sighed. "Why? Does Leader Xia still care about the lives of those irrelevant people?" Sujin asked with a smile. "Of course not. I just think it's a pity." Xiaoliang shook his head. "What's a pity?" Sujin asked curiously. "It's a pity that there are countless treasures and cultivation resources on the Blood Moon Continent. If we could sweep the entire continent, our wealth would definitely skyrocket," Xiaoliang said with regret. "Forget it. It's good enough that we're still alive. If we went to sweep those treasures, who knows if we'd have the chance to leave the Blood Moon Continent alive," Sujin said with some disdain. "That's right. No matter how many treasures there are, we still need to be alive to enjoy them." A mystic demon cultivator nodded in agreement. At that time, everyone only had one thought in their hearts, and that was to leave the Blood Moon Continent alive. They didn't have the extravagant hope of taking all the treasures on the Blood Moon Continent for themselves, even though those treasures had no owner. Truth be told, if you want the treasures of the Blood Moon Continent, it is very simple. Just teleport back, Xiaoling Yu said smilingly. "Ha, First Master, don't scare me. Even if you give me 100 guts, I won't dare to go back." Xiaoliang scratched his head and said with a careless look. "Where are we going next?" Xiaoling Yu asked. Xiaoliang pondered for a moment before saying, "Let's go to the Northern Sea Continent. There's a large-scale interstellar teleportation array there. Once we pass through the Northern Sea Continent, we can leave the Blood Moon Continent in one go. Then let's go to the Northern Ocean Continent. The situation on the Blood Moon Continent is too special. It's better to be as far away as possible." Xiaoling Yu nodded. In less than a day, the cultivators of the Heavenly Bandits completed another teleportation and arrived at the Northern Ocean Continent. The Northern Ocean Continent was relatively large. It was one of the largest continents in the northwest of the Devil Realm. There were many experts on the continent. Whether it was the abundance of cultivation resources or the level of experts, it was a grade higher than the Blood Moon Continent. One more teleportation and we'll be far away from the dangers of the Blood Moon Continent. Xiaoliang said with a relaxed expression as he looked at the 6 towering pillars in the Northern Ocean City's plaza. However, what Xiaoliang, Xiaolingyu, and the others did not expect was that after waiting for half a day, just as it was about to be the turn of the heaven-smiting bandit group's cultivators to use the teleportation formation, a large group of city guard experts suddenly surged out of North Wall City. After a few shouts, the city guard experts surrounded the teleportation formation. Under the orders of the city lord, the teleportation array is temporarily sealed. Everyone, please return and wait patiently. A mysterious demon stage city guard shouted. The cultivators who were waiting at the teleportation array were very depressed, disappointed, and even angry. However, they could only curse a few times before leaving resentfully. Xiaolingyu and the others were originally relaxed, but now, their faces became gloomy. They were about to completely get rid of the nightmare of the Blood Moon continent, but now, unexpected problems had arisen. It really made them feel depressed. No one asked why the teleportation array was sealed. It wasn't that the city guards didn't want to answer, but that they simply wouldn't tell you the truth. Xiaolingyu didn't waste his breath on the city guards. He frowned and said to Xiaoliang, "Let's find a place to stay first. We have many people. It's not suitable for us to enter the Northern Ocean City. We've stayed in the Northern Ocean continent for a while before. How about we go to the place where the Divine Mourner bandit group stayed before?" Xiaoliang suggested. "Is it far from here?" Sujin asked. "Not far. It's only a little more than 2 hours away," Xiaoliang replied. Everyone in the Heavenly Bandits followed Xiaoliang's lead and headed towards the southeast of the Northern Ocean City. After a little more than 2 hours, the group arrived at a boundless mountain forest. They stopped next to a tree that was nearly 300 feet tall. Xiaoliang stood in front of the tree roots and began to silently chant an incantation. After a few moments, the bark of the big tree split open, revealing a door. This place is very hidden. If an ordinary cultivator came here, they wouldn't be able to see through it without carefully examining it. Xiaolingyu praised and followed Xiaoliang into the tree hole. The trunk of the tree was about 10 meters in diameter, but the space in the tree hole wasn't large. However, there was an underground cave in the tree hole. A stone staircase led from the tree hole to the depths of the cave. It was so deep that they couldn't see the bottom. Xiaoliang led the way down the staircase. After 100 breaths of time, they reached the end of the staircase. There was a tunnel at the bottom of the cave. After walking for about the time it took to brew a cup of tea, they arrived at an extremely large underground cave. There were many stone tables and stone benches in the cave. Moreover, there were countless stone doors that were densely packed together. Xiaolingyu carefully examined the cave with his mind. After confirming that there were no problems, he said, "Call them down." Under normal circumstances, the city guards would only lock down the teleportation formation for 3 to 5 months at most. Most of the time, it was to repair the teleportation formation or adjust the astrolabe of the teleportation formation. However, the Northern Sea Continent's interstellar teleportation formation had not been reactivated even after nearly a year had passed. In the beginning, no one was in a hurry. However, the longer they waited, the more impatient they became. If it weren't for the fact that Xiaolingyu, the leader of the Heavenly Bandits, was extremely calm, everyone would have been thrown into chaos. "Boss, since we can't leave now, why don't we do something?" An early profound demon cultivator suggested. Xiaolingyu knew that everyone was too bored. After all, they didn't know when the teleportation array would reactivate and when they would be able to leave. Therefore, they couldn't enter a state of seclusion and cultivate. It was only natural that they would feel bored waiting in the cave. It's best not to do it here. There are countless experts in the Northern Ocean continent. The chances of us encountering a demon monarch expert is very high. Moreover, we don't have a demon monarch expert on our side. Even if we succeed in robbing them, we won't be able to leave the Northern Ocean continent. If we don't do it well, we might get into big trouble. Xiaoliang immediately rejected that suggestion. "Don't worry, everyone. We'll do it when we're far away from the Blood Moon continent. Xiaoling Yu maintained a smile as if he was very patient. In fact, Xiaoling Yu was more anxious than anyone else. He had a feeling that the Northern Ocean continent's interstellar teleportation array had something to do with the Blood Moon continent. After a period of quiet contemplation, Xiaoling Yu recalled that woman and what she had said to him. He felt that he wasn't safe. The special blood energy in his body was like a curse that could threaten his life at any time. As for the flute, Xiaoling Yu would occasionally summon up the courage to take it out and have a look. However, he didn't dare to delve into it. He only stroked it with his hands and looked at it with his eyes. He didn't even dare to touch it with his consciousness. That woman had said that this flute could save Xiaoling Yu's life in the future. Xiaoling Yu was also skeptical about this. However, he had even more reason to believe that it was very likely to be true. Otherwise, why would that woman waste her breath on him? If that woman wanted to scheme against him, with her strength, it would be as easy as lifting a finger. However, Xiaoling Yu was also very suspicious. He wasn't related to that woman at all. Why would she give him a treasure that she always carried around with her? In short, Xiaoling Yu's feelings were extremely complicated when he stroked the flute. He could guess that the woman definitely didn't give this flute to him simply to save his life. There was definitely another reason. However, he still didn't dare to throw it away so easily. Waiting for a year was nothing to everyone. After all, everyone would cultivate in seclusion for at least 1,000 years. However, after waiting for another 3 years, the brothers that Xiao Liang had arranged at the Interstellar Teleportation Array Plaza still sent word that the Interstellar Teleportation Array Plaza was still sealed. Many cultivators who couldn't wait to leave the Northern Ocean continent had gathered around the Interstellar Teleportation Array Plaza to cause trouble. However, they were ignored by the city guards every time. Some were even mercilessly suppressed. It was said that even a Demon Lord-level expert had been mobilized. Xiao Liang and the rest had been comforting the members of the Heavenly Bandits, telling them to calm down and wait quietly. Fortunately, everyone had just escaped death. In addition, with the deterrence of the Heavenly Bandits experts, they were very obedient. However, after half a year, the Heavenly Bandits were still quietly waiting in this secret cave. However, the brothers who were on guard in the tree hole sent a warning. Xiaoling Yu and the rest of the Heavenly Bandits experts immediately got up. However, before they could leave the cave, they saw a cultivator barge in. Chapter 304. It's useless for you to hide here. As long as you come to the Northern Sea continent, I will definitely be able to find you. The cultivator slowly walked forward and said with a strange smile. Xiaoling Yu was very suspicious when he heard this. He clearly did not know this person, and did not know when he had a grudge with him. Why did this person seem to be looking for him? However, a moment later, Xiaoling Yu guessed that he had the same bloody light as the newcomer. He guessed that the newcomer had come because of this. There are quite a lot of people, but they are all too weak. I advise you to surrender. The cultivator touched his chin and said with an evil smile. Do we have a grudge with you? Xiaoling Yu asked calmly. No, we don't even know each other. The cultivator shook his head. Then why do you want us to surrender? Xiaoling Yu asked again. He could feel that the cultivator's strength was indeed stronger than him, but he should be at the early stage of Demon Monarch. There were so many mystical demon stage and spirit demon stage cultivators here, so they might be able to deal with him. Because between you and me, only one can live. The cultivator said very straightforwardly. Why? Xiaoling Yu was nervous at this time, and the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs were ready to move. Because if both of us are alive, neither of us will live for more than 1,000,000 years. Of course, you don't know that both of us are like this, and there are many existences like us. In the end, only one of us can survive, and the rest will die. The cultivator said with a sinister smile. Then why don't you make a move? Xiaoling Yu said indifferently. The cultivator seemed to be very confident, but in fact, he did not make a move since he came here, and it was obvious that he did not have absolute confidence in winning. This is just a grudge between you and me, and I don't want to kill more people. If you know what's good for you, then go out and fight with me, and let's fight to the death." Speaking until here, the cultivator looked around, and looked at the heavenly bandits experts behind Shaolin Yu, and said, "If you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for being ruthless." Obviously, this was deliberately to divide Shaolin Yu and the others, and also to warn the heavenly bandits experts not to act rashly except for Shaolin Yu. Is your brain flooded with water? You want to kill our leader? Of course we will kill you together. How can we let our leader fight you alone? Just as everyone was frowning and muttering to themselves, Zhu Jin, who had the weakest cultivation, suddenly stepped forward and loudly cursed. Although Shaolin Yu did not help to destroy the Meng family, he was still as loyal to Shaolin Yu as he was before, to destroy. Moreover, if Shaolin Yu really died, even if the person who came didn't kill the rest of the heaven-smiting bandit group, Zhu Jin's future days would definitely not be easy. Shaolin Yu glanced at Zhu Jin without batting an eyelid, but he was still very grateful. He was also afraid of facing this demon lord expert alone. "Don't worry, First Master. You're the one who brought us out of the Blood Moon continent. You're the one who gave us our lives. If this bastard wants to kill you, he'll have to step over our dead bodies first." Sujin also stood up with a look of hatred for a common enemy. "Us too!" The experts of the God Morning Bandit group shouted in unison. In fact, Shaolin Yu knew that these experts made this choice because he was their savior, because they had sworn to listen to Shaolin Yu's orders, and because they did not think that this person would really let them go. When the person saw this, he could not help but frown. He did not expect that there would be so many mysterious demon experts here. He thought that he could easily take them down, but he ended up in such an awkward situation. This place was set up by the demon lord of the God Morning Bandit group. Naturally, it could prevent early-stage demon lord cultivators from probing. The reason why he wasted his breath was because he was carefully observing the level of the cultivators in the cave. The more he observed, the more difficult it was for him. Although there was no demon lord here, there were too many cultivators. Even if he could win and kill the target, he would definitely be seriously injured. If he encountered other cultivators in the same situation, he would definitely be killed. If he fought, he might not win. If he did not fight, he did not know if he would have another chance in the future, haha. Just as they were confronting each other, the person suddenly laughed and said, "How about this? Let's not rush to determine victory and defeat in life and death. Let's cooperate for now. If we meet other people in the future, we will work together to kill them. When only the two of us are left, we will fight again. How about it?" Shaolin Yu also knew that the other party did not dare to make a move easily, so he suggested a temporary solution. After thinking for a while, he said, "It's not impossible to cooperate, but before that, I want to know everything you know." The person naturally knew what Shaolin Yu wanted to know, but he shook his head and said, "I can only tell you some things if we cooperate." Shaolin Yu thought about it and agreed. They had not even started cooperating, so how could the other party leak some secrets? "Okay, I agree. We will cooperate for now. Of course, for both of us to be at ease, it's better for us to make a soul oath for this cooperation," Shaolin Yu replied. "That's exactly what I want." After that, the person who came quickly made an oath. After Shaolin Yu also made the oath, the person said, "This is a serious matter. Let's talk alone." "Okay, come with me." Shaolin Yu nodded and then led the person to a secret room. He then used his chaotic energy and a curse to set up a restriction in the secret room to prevent others from peeping. "It seems that you have benefited greatly. The energy in your body has mutated and become stronger than mine," the person praised after sensing the aura of the chaotic energy. In fact, the person did not know that the reason why Shaolin Yu's energy was so strong was not because of the blood-colored energy in his body, but because the chaotic energy was originally extraordinary. Shaolin Yu took the initiative to show his strength and let the other party know that he was not a pushover. Shaolin Yu had no intention to explain the energy he cultivated and said calmly, "Let's talk frankly." The person who came was also a straightforward person and did not dawdle. He asked. You should know about the Blood Moon continent, right? Xiaoling Yu nodded and did not say that he came from the Blood Moon continent. The person continued, all of this is related to the blood moon and the night sky of the Blood Moon continent. That blood moon is actually not a planet, nor is it a material object. It is only formed by countless demonic creatures. And among those demonic creatures, there is a powerful existence whose cultivation is not weaker than the Demon Lord. Hearing this, Xiaoling Yu's originally calm expression immediately changed. The Demon Lord, the most powerful existence in the demon realm. It is said that he has the strength of a god. The smile on the person's face disappeared and he said solemnly, that Demon Lord has existed for countless years. His strength is very strong. He is so strong that he is unrivaled in the immortal, demon and demon realms. But because he is too strong, he is very proud and arrogant. Because of this, he offended many venerables in the three realms. In the end, he was besieged by them and almost died. In the past, there were many venerables in the three realms. But because of that battle, just to besiege him, the three realms lost 80 to 90% of their venerables. Until now, the number of venerables in the three realms has not recovered to its original number. Has he recovered? Xiaoling Yu interrupted and asked. I don't know what his current situation is, but I know that he is definitely not dead. The demonic creature in the blood moon in the sky of the Blood Moon continent was actually created by him using a supreme divine technique. It was also because of this divine technique that his life was saved. I don't know the specifics, but at that time, those venerables who came to besiege him set up a powerful sealing formation on the Blood Moon continent. Now, that formation must have been broken and he must have awakened from his deep sleep. The person who came shook his head and explained. Connecting the person's words to the situation on the Blood Moon continent, it was easier for Xiaoling Yu to understand and deduce some things. Then what's going on with us? Xiaoling Yu asked. We are fish eyes that he made to pass off as pearls. We all have a wisp of his life imprint on our bodies. This life imprint is very beneficial to our cultivation. After fusing with our bodies, it will not appear. Only when we meet other cultivators who also have his life imprint, or when we meet him, will a bloody light overflow from our bodies. That bloody light is the embodiment of his life imprint. It is difficult to suppress or hide it unless one's cultivation is at the venerable's level. The person explained patiently. Then why can only one of us survive? Xiaoling Yu asked, puzzled. Among us cultivators who have his life imprint, there is one who not only has a wisp of his life imprint, but also his soul consciousness. Under the control of his soul consciousness, that cultivator will kill all of us and devour all of our cultivation. In fact, he left a wisp of his life imprint on us to erode our bodies and cultivation, and even our souls. I can calculate that we only have 1,000,000 years. If we can't cultivate to the venerable's level in this 1,000,000 years, then both our bodies and souls will be completely changed. However, it is almost impossible to cultivate to the venerable's level in 1,000,000 years. Therefore, our only way out is to kill each other and try our best to collect more of his life imprints in order to counterattack. The person who came continued to explain. Can we really counterattack? Xiaoling Yu asked anxiously. Chapter 305. How do you know so much? Xiaoling Yu asked, puzzled. Don't worry, I'm not the one with his soul consciousness. If I were, I wouldn't be telling you this, the person said with a smile. Now that the seal has been broken, won't the experts who sealed him before ask about this? Xiaoling Yu asked again. Most of the experts who sealed him before have already ascended to the God realm. However, there will definitely be people who will ask about this. The demon realm supremacy level experts probably already know about this, and someone will come to check it out personally. He can also think of this, so he scattered his life essence to deceive the demon realm's experts who will come to check and buy time for him to recover completely. Actually, we all have another purpose, which is to pretend to be genuine and act as shields for his soul consciousness, the person explained. If that's the case, aren't we all in danger? Once those demon realms experts discover us, they will definitely kill us, Xiaoling Yu said with a frown. unless you're unlucky enough to meet a demon supremacy. Otherwise, even a peak late-stage demon emperor won't be able to see that we have his life imprint on us." The person shook his head and laughed. The demon realm was too big, and the number of demon supremacies was pitifully small. Moreover, even a demon supremacy would find it difficult to carefully search the entire demon realm. But if we're too scattered, how can we accumulate more than half of his life essence in a mere 1,000,000 years? Xiaoling Yu was a little worried. It's a little difficult, but for cultivators like us, as long as we exist in the same continent, we can sense each other's existence. As long as we keep searching in various continents, 1,000,000 years may not be enough. If we can find the one with his soul consciousness earlier, and we have more of his life essence in our bodies, even if we don't have more than half of his life essence, we can still destroy him, the person said with confidence. You should be the only one who knows about this situation, right? Xiaoling Yu asked again. Not necessarily. Cultivators on the Blood Moon continent and the Devil Realm continent near the Blood Moon continent, as well as many mystical demons and devil monarchs, know a little about the legends of the Blood Moon continent. In addition, there are related records in some ancient books. Cultivators like us who have his life essence can make a rough guess as long as we investigate carefully. Therefore, we have to kill as many of them as possible before they find out. We have to plunder the life essence of the demon sovereign as much as possible so that we can have more courage and capital to face the person with the demon sovereign's soul consciousness, the person said calmly. Xiaoling Yu just nodded silently, but she was very depressed in her heart. She entered the Blood Moon Tower to cultivate. Although she finally succeeded in advancing to the chaotic void refining stage, she didn't expect that she would have such a big burden. The person in front of her said it was easy and skillful, but if he wanted to kill a cultivator with the soul consciousness of the demon venerable, he would definitely die. Actually, all of us were recently invaded by the life imprint of the demon sovereign. Everyone is now scattered across the Devil Realm continents not far from the Blood Moon continent. Now is the best time for us to launch a sneak attack on others and plunder the life essence of the demon sovereign, the person continued. But now that the teleportation formation of the Northern Ocean continent has been sealed, we can't leave. How can we plunder? Xiaoling Yu said helplessly. It's still early. Our current mission is not to plunder, but to protect ourselves. Now, not only the teleportation formation of the Northern Ocean continent has been sealed, but also the continents near the Blood Moon continent. This must be the work of the top experts of the Devil Realm. Their goal is to find the demon venerable's soul consciousness, the person said with a smile. If the demon venerable's soul consciousness is found and destroyed, what will we do? Xiaoling Yu asked again. If his soul consciousness is destroyed, the life imprint he left on us will be ownerless. It will be the best tonic for us. However, his soul consciousness is also at the level of the demon venerable. Moreover, with his cultivation back then, even the current demon venerable will have a hard time finding him. It is basically impossible to count on the experts of the Devil Realm to destroy the demon venerable's soul consciousness, the person said with a pessimistic tone. At this point, the two of them fell silent for a while. After thinking carefully for a while, Xiaoling Yu suddenly said, "You said that as long as we are in the same Devil Realm continent, we will be able to sense each other's presence. How do you do that?" The person said, "I can sense it naturally. I don't need any spells or incantations." Xiaoling Yu frowned and asked, "Then why didn't I sense your presence before?" The person said with a smile, "Because your cultivation level is not as high as mine. I can sense you, but you can't sense me. If there is one or more people with a higher cultivation level than us who also have the demon venerable's life imprint and are also in the Northern Ocean continent, then we won't be able to sense his presence, but he can easily find us." Xiaoling Yu's heart tightened when she heard this. Don't worry. If there really is someone with a higher cultivation level than us in the Northern Ocean continent, why would the two of us be chatting here? The person said with a relaxed smile. How long will this transportation formation be sealed? Xiaoling Yu continued to ask. I don't know. After all, the Devil Realm is not like the Immoral Realm. The big shots of the Devil Realm never consider too much when they do things, nor do they consider the benefits of low-level cultivators. If they really care about this matter, then they will seal the transportation formation indefinitely until the demon venerable's soul consciousness is found. If they don't care about this matter, then they will reopen the transportation formation regardless of whether they find it or not. The person shook his head and said, "If there really are experts from the devil realm searching everywhere, then wouldn't it be very dangerous for the two of us to be together?" Xiaoling Yu looked at the bloody light on her body and said worriedly, "That's why I can't stay here for long. After I'm done talking with you, I have to leave." The person said, "Do you have any other questions? What's your name?" Xiaoling Yu tilted her head and asked, "Ran Kai." After replying, the person left the secret room and the secret cave. "He's leaving just like that?" Xiao Liang and the others had been waiting outside the secret room all this time. When they saw Ran Kai leave, they were very surprised. "Why? Do you guys really want to fight him?" Xiaoling Yu asked with a smile. "No, didn't he say that he wanted to work with us?" Xiao Liang asked in confusion. "If we're working together, then do we have to be together?" Xiaoling Yu asked in return. She went outside and began to repair everything that Ran Kai had destroyed. After talking with Ran Kai for a long time, Xiaoling Yu felt the pressure on her body grow heavier. Her heart seemed to be covered by a layer of shadow. After that, they continued to wait. After Xiaoling Yu calmed her mind, she knew that the transportation formation wouldn't be reopened for a short period of time. She began to cultivate quietly. Intermediate and advanced curses, soul-rending demonic palm, chaos demonic seal. Perhaps it was because Ran Kai's arrival had reminded everyone that there were indeed many experts in the Northern Ocean continent. Therefore, the other members of the Heavenly Bandits became even more obedient. No one dared to say that they wanted to leave. After waiting for another 30 years, Xiaoling Yu, who was in seclusion, suddenly opened his eyes. This was because he felt an incomparably tyrannical devil sense sweep through the cave and then disappear. That demonic sense had only swept across Xiaoling Yu's chaos demonic nascent soul, and his soul trembled. It was many times stronger than the demonic sense of Ran Kai, who was at the demonic sovereign level. "There really are experts searching for us," Xiaoling Yu muttered. After another half a year, the transportation formation of the Northern Ocean continent was finally reopened. Those experts must have searched the entire Northern Ocean continent thoroughly. The cultivators of the Heavenly Bandits waited at the transportation formation plaza for 5 days before it was their turn to be transported. After all, there were too many cultivators who were trapped in the Northern Ocean continent and were in a hurry to leave. Before they were transported, Xiaoling Yu saw Ran Kai. However, the two of them didn't dare to get too close. They communicated through voice transmission from afar. "Brother Xiao, where are you going?" Ran Kai asked through voice transmission. "Somewhere far away. The continents near the Blood Moon continent are too dangerous," Xiaoling Yu replied honestly. "If you go far away, how are you going to find those who have the demonic sovereign's life imprint? How are we going to continue working together?" Ran Kai seemed displeased. Don't worry. I won't go far. I'm just sending my people off," Xiaoling Yu replied with a smile. "That's good. I believe that if we work together, we can definitely obtain a lot of the demonic sovereign's life essence," Ran Kai said confidently. "When the time comes, Brother Ran will be able to kill me with the advantage of your cultivation level. Then, you'll quickly become one of the strongest cultivators in the Devil Realm," Xiaoling Yu said meaningfully. "Ha, that's a story for the future. We don't even know if the two of us can survive until then," Ran Kai said with a laugh. Xiaoling Yu didn't reply. If Ran Kai was telling the truth, then he had to be on guard against Ran Kai. He couldn't let this guy improve too quickly. Moreover, he had to work hard to cultivate. At the very least, he had to be strong enough to not fear Ran Kai. Regardless of whether Ran Kai was telling the truth or not, Xiaoling Yu would rather believe him. After all, he couldn't find any loopholes in Ran Kai's words. He could only choose to believe Ran Kai. Before they were transported, Xiaoling Yu communicated with Zhu Jin, Xiao Liang, and the others. Then, he quietly watched the members of the Heavenly Bandits being transported in batches. "We're going to the Crimson Water continent now." After waiting for another half a day, it was finally Ran Kai's turn to be transported. He said a few words to Xiaoling Yu and entered the transportation formation. After Ran Kai was transported away, Xiaoling Yu stood in place for a while. After hesitating for a while, he still lined up and entered the transportation formation. He also went to the Crimson Water continent. Ran Kai was waiting for Xiaoling Yu at the transportation formation square of the Crimson Water continent. After Xiaoling Yu walked out of the transportation formation, Ran Kai transmitted his voice to him. "I've found a target. He's in Crimson Water City." Then, the two of them entered Crimson Water City one after the other. They kept their distance from each other like strangers. "He's here." Chapter 306. Actually, as soon as they walked out of the teleportation array, Xiaoling Yu suddenly had a very mysterious feeling in her heart. It was as if there was a family member somewhere on this continent that was calling out to her. But fighting is also prohibited in Scarlet Water City. "Are we supposed to just go up and fight?" Xiaoling Yu asked through voice transmission as she stood on the opposite side of the street. "Of course we can't just charge in. Moreover, we have to keep a distance from him when there are outsiders around. Otherwise, our bodies will overflow with bloody light. Once the news spreads, our whereabouts will be exposed," Ran Kai replied. "Then what do we do now?" Xiaoling Yu asked again. "It's very simple. Wait outside for him to come out and then follow him. If he leaves the city or goes to a place with fewer people, it won't be too late for us to make a move." Ran Kai seemed to be very patient as he replied. At that moment, the two of them kept a distance of 7 to 8 feet as they silently stared at the entrance of the restaurant. After waiting for nearly 4 hours, Ran Kai transmitted his voice to Xiaoling Yu. "Do you see that young master dressed in embroidered clothes? Our target is him." The young master had a handsome appearance and was dressed in bright clothes. At this moment, he seemed to be slightly drunk. Beside him was a beautiful woman and 2 large men with indifferent expressions. After they walked out of the restaurant, they walked slowly while Xiaoling Yu and Ran Kai followed from a distance. As they walked, the young master seemed to stumble unintentionally. The graceful woman with a somewhat fox-like figure hurriedly supported him. Who would have thought that the young master seemed as if he could no longer stand and stuck close to the woman? One of his arms even wrapped around her willowy waist, and his large hands were even mischievously kneading the woman's perky buttocks. The woman didn't seem to mind. She continued to support the young master, and the charming smile on her face became more and more pronounced. Everyone walked all the way to a courtyard. The 2 large men guarded the entrance and didn't enter the courtyard. The woman and the young master walked in with their bodies close to each other. There weren't many pedestrians in the vicinity because this wasn't a commercial area, but a residential area. There weren't many shops, only courtyards that were separated by more than 1,000 feet. These courtyards were bought by cultivators for permanent residence. Since fighting was prohibited in the big city, and the residents were protected by the city guards, many wealthy people would spend large amounts of devil stones to purchase real estate in the big city. However, most cultivators would only be able to buy 2 or 3 rooms. Only a very small number of wealthy cultivators could afford such a spacious courtyard with a superior environment. The residences in the city, whether they were 2 or 3 rooms or large courtyards, were all protected by restrictions set up by the experts of the city lord mansion. In addition, there was always a large number of city guards patrolling the city, so the residences of the cultivators were very safe. There was no need to hire other guards. After all, there was no absolute guarantee of safety. The houses in the city were so expensive, so who would be willing to buy them? There aren't any experts in this courtyard. The strongest one here is only at the late-stage spirit demon realm. Who do you think will fight? Ran Kai was at the early stage of the Devil Monarch realm, so the courtyard's protective restriction was unable to isolate his devil sense. After he scanned the courtyard, he asked Xiaoling Yu. Whoever fought would naturally be able to obtain the blood-colored life essence from the young master. Xiaoling Yu thought for a moment and said, "I'll do it. There's no need to use a sledgehammer to kill a chicken. I'll trouble Brother Ran when I meet someone stronger in the future." Ran Kai said straightforwardly, "I'll keep a lookout for you outside. Remember, no one inside can be left behind, and don't give them a chance to send a message." There were very few people in the devil realm who were soft-hearted. Xiaoling Yu knew that he was also a decisive person, and there were many innocent people who died tragically in his hands. Therefore, after taking a deep breath, he stepped toward the door. "Stop! Do you have..." Without waiting for the second man to finish his words, Xiaoling Yu had already floated between them like a ghost. Furthermore, he used two large hands like iron pincers to choke their necks, and brought them along to smash open the courtyard's door. This speed is a little slow, but it's definitely enough to deal with the people in this courtyard. Ran Kai looked at the courtyard's door that was already open and revealed a somewhat thought-provoking smile. There was also a restriction on the courtyard's door. When it was broken open like this, it would naturally send out a warning signal. However, this warning signal only warned that there was a strong person attacking. It would not specify who the person was or what characteristics he or she had. However, this warning signal would not only inform the cultivators in the courtyard, but also the nearby city guard experts. It would not be long before a large number of city guards would arrive. Xiaoling Yu also understood this. He knew that he did not have much time, so after entering the door, he suddenly exerted force in his palms. His chaotic demonic power quickly rushed into the two big men's bodies and ended their lives. These two big men were only in the late stage of the true demon realm. Facing the current Xiaoling Yu, they were like babies facing a strong man. "Who are you?" There was a stone path in the courtyard. A middle-aged cultivator with the early stage of the spirit demon realm pointed at Xiaoling Yu and shouted. In order to save time, Xiaoling Yu appeared behind him with the wings of extreme speed. His body flashed and turned into a silver light that swept past the middle-aged cultivator. Before the middle-aged cultivator could do anything to defend himself, his head had already floated high into the air and then exploded into a bloody mist. His body quickly turned into a pool of black venom that emitted black smoke on the ground as if he had been poisoned. Even the demon infant could not escape. With the silver moon-broken saber in his hand and the poisonous chaotic demonic power infused into it, coupled with the speed of the wings of extreme speed, Xiaoling Yu was not a match at all in this small courtyard. Currently, he could still fight against a mystic demon realm expert. There was a world of difference between him and those below the mystic demon realm. This is a bit interesting. However, with just this strength, he is not as good as the demon lord. Ran Kai had been using his demonic sense to observe the courtyard as he smiled and muttered to himself. The reason why he agreed to let Xiaoling Yu make the first move was to see if Xiaoling Yu was strong enough and ruthless enough. He wanted to see if Xiaoling Yu was a satisfactory partner. There were not many cultivators in the courtyard. The city lord's mansion had a rule that such a courtyard could only house 20 people at most. Xiaoling Yu only used 5 breaths of time to kill 11 people. However, when Xiaoling Yu rushed into a room and saw 2 people, he frowned and retreated. This was because the 2 people in the room were mother and son. The mother was only at the mid-stage of the true demon realm, and her son was still in swaddling clothes and had probably just been born. For those strong men and cultivators who intended to resist, Xiaoling Yu could be ruthless and kill them. After all, in a place like the devil world, where people ate people, if you didn't kill, you would be killed. Kindness was the most undesirable personality in the devil world, but when he saw the mother and son, he really couldn't do it. Sigh, this kid is still not ruthless enough. However, this is equivalent to having a weakness. I like it. Ran Kai thought in his heart as he killed the terrified woman holding the swaddling clothes. Even the child was turned into nothingness under his demonic flames. At this time, 10 breaths had already passed. In Ran Kai's demonic sense, a large number of city guards had already rushed over. However, his expression was still very relaxed because he also saw that Xiaoling Yu had also found the young master. The young master's cultivation was only at the peak of the mid-stage of the true demon realm. In front of Xiaoling Yu, he was as weak as tofu. In Ran Kai's opinion, Shaolin Yu could kill the young master in at most one breath and instantly seize his essence. However, when Shaolin Yu pushed open the door of the room where the young master was, he was stunned for a moment because the young master and the woman had already taken off their clothes. The young master was holding the woman's plump buttocks and entering from the rear court, constantly shaking his body. The woman's arms were propped up on the bed, and a pair of white pigeon-like lumps of meat swayed between her body and the bed, causing Shaolin Yu to be on fire at this moment. Seeing Shaolin Yu come in, the man's expression changed and he shouted, "Who are you? Who let you in? Get out quickly." Even if he was cursing, the man did not stop and was still moving back and forth, not realizing that his body was already glistening with blood. The woman did not even open her eyes and was still moaning, not caring that there were outsiders watching at this time. Sure enough, they were a pair of dogs. Shaolin Yu quickly came back to his senses, and the silver moon-broken blade flashed with chaotic demonic light, erasing the two people enjoying on the bed. When Shaolin Yu was about to absorb the life essence of the young master, he actually felt very disgusted, as if he was about to eat a rotten fruit. Even if it was a little disgusting, but for his own life, Shaolin Yu still braced himself and did it. After all, the young master's cultivation was too weak. Shaolin Yu only used one breath to extract all his life essence and then left the room. Just as he walked to the door of the courtyard, Shaolin Yu had already felt a very strong aura enveloping the surroundings. He could not help but be shocked because this aura was very strong. It should be released by a demon monarch level expert. When he left the courtyard, his heart calmed down slightly. That aura was not released by an expert city guard, but by Ran Kai, who was outside acting as a lookout. The purpose was to intimidate the city guards who wanted to approach. The last time he came to the Crimson Water Continent, Xiao Liang said that the cultivators on the Crimson Water Continent were not as strong as those on the Blood Moon Continent. A demon monarch level expert could act unscrupulously here, even in Crimson Water City. When the city guards felt Ran Kai's aura, none of them dared to rush over. After all, this was beyond their control. They would not die for nothing. Let's go to the teleportation array. When Shaolin Yu came out, Ran Kai took the lead and went to the city gate. At this time, there were no demon monarch level experts in Crimson Water City. Even if there were, they might not stand out, so Ran Kai and Shaolin Yu easily left the city. The demon monarch aura on Ran Kai's body also made the cultivators lining up at the teleportation array square move aside. Let's go to the Southern Sea Continent. Chapter 307. The Southern Sea Continent and the Northern Sea Continent shared similar names. In reality, the two continents weren't very far from each other. However, the Southern Sea Continent wasn't as prosperous as the Northern Sea Continent. It was also more than 100 times smaller. The Southern Sea Continent wasn't very big to begin with, but most of it was covered by the ocean. More than 80% of the continent was covered by water. The number of cultivators in this world of water wasn't even 1,000th of the Northern Sea Continent's. After walking out of the teleportation formation, Shaolin Yu found himself in a teleportation formation plaza. There were less than 100 people around him. Ran Kai hadn't gone far. He was at the edge of the plaza. When Shaolin Yu walked out of the crowd, he sent a sound transmission to him. "You'll do it again this time." Shaolin Yu walked out of the teleportation formation plaza and carefully sensed his surroundings. To his dismay, he couldn't sense the person they were looking for on this continent. "I was the one who did it last time. I won't snatch it this time. After all, we're working together. I have to show some sincerity. I can't always take advantage of you." Shaolin Yu sent a sound transmission back. "Ha, that works too." Ran Kai laughed loudly and flew towards the east. Shaolin Yu naturally followed far behind. However, Ran Kai continued to lead the way. After flying in a straight line for an hour, he suddenly changed directions and flew towards the west. Shaolin Yu didn't quite understand. However, Ran Kai knew very well in his heart. Ran Kai had let Shaolin Yu make the first move because he wanted to see if Shaolin Yu could sense his target's location. If he couldn't, it meant that Xiaoling Yu's cultivation was inferior to his target's. However, Xiaoling Yu's answer just now made Ran Kai uncertain. Therefore, he led Xiaoling Yu in the wrong direction to see if Xiaoling Yu would warn him or question him. If Xiaoling Yu simply followed and didn't realize that they were going in the wrong direction, then everything would be very clear. How strange. This guy isn't even in the middle stage of the profound demon realm. How can he be so strong? The demon lord's life imprint shouldn't have allowed him to make such a huge leap. After Ran Kai confirmed that Xiaoling Yu's cultivation wasn't high, he was very puzzled about Xiaoling Yu's strength. The two of them flew at full speed for nearly 2 days before stopping near a small island. This place is not bad. There are no cultivators around. Our target is the only one on this small island. When we attack, there is no need to hold back. Ran Kai sent a secret vocal transmission to Xiaoling Yu. Then let me congratulate Brother Ran on your victory, Xiaoling Yu replied with a smile. At this moment, Xiaoling Yu had already guessed that Ran Kai was testing her previously. However, the two of them had already sworn that at least before they reached the final step, she did not have to worry too much about Ran Kai harming her. Ran Kai did not dawdle. He immediately flew towards the small island and directly released the aura of an early demon lord, sealing off the entire island. Just as Ran Kai landed on the island, a colorful light suddenly shone from the center of the island, enveloping a small mountain. It was obvious that the colorful light was released by a defensive array, and Ran Kai's target was within the light barrier. There's actually such a powerful array protecting it. However, a mere array can't stop me. Ran Kai snorted coldly. Then, a demonic saber, a demonic sword, and an iron hammer flew out from his body. All of them surged with power and then blasted towards the colorful light. The 3 offensive magic treasures were all top-grade demonic weapons. Each of them had extraordinary power. However, the defensive power of the array seemed to be very strong. Although it was shaking non-stop, it did not show any signs of collapsing quickly. It seemed to be able to resist for a period of time. Brother Xiao, come and help. Ran Kai attacked with all his might for a while. Seeing that the array was still very stable, he called Xiaoling Yu to help. Who dares to be so presumptuous here? Xiaoling Yu was about to make a move when she heard an angry rebuke from afar. Then, she saw an old man wearing a purple robe appear on the top of the mountain. Oh no, it's the demon lord. Ran Kai immediately retreated and reminded Xiaoling Yu. Can you beat him? Xiaoling Yu asked directly. At most, I can only restrain him, Ran Kai replied. You restrain him. I will end the target, Xiaoling Yu said indifferently. Okay. Ran Kai replied in a deep voice. Then, he directly controlled his 3 top-grade demonic weapons to attack the old man in midair. Humph. The purple-robed old man snorted coldly. A jade ruler appeared in his hand. He swept it around his body in the air. A circle of demonic light spread out in all directions, stopping the 3 top-grade demonic weapons in midair. Good move. Ran Kai praised. The 3 top-grade demonic weapons all retreated 100 feet. Then, with an even fiercer aura than before, they attacked again. All of them could penetrate the demonic light, but their speed was obviously reduced by a little. Your Excellency is not bad either. The purple-robed old man replied. The jade ruler in his hand also shone brightly. However, he did not defend himself. Instead, he slapped it towards Ran Kai. In an instant, layers of ruler shadows fell vertically from the sky. Just as they were about to hit Ran Kai, they all gathered together. At this time, the 3 top-grade demonic weapons also reached the purple-robed old man's side. He stood in the same place without moving an inch. However, a demonic light flashed on his body, repelling all 3 top-grade demonic weapons. Ran Kai did not move either. When the ruler shadows were about to reach him, he directly punched out, blasting the ruler shadows into flowing light. The two of them exchanged blows. No one was able to gain the upper hand. If they continued to fight, it would be difficult to determine the winner in a short time. Seeing this, Shaolin Yu dared to act with confidence. This purple-robed old man was obviously related to their target. If Rankai could not restrain this old man, and he killed their target, then this old man would definitely not let him go. At that time, Rankai would not be in danger, and he would not have a good time. After waiting for Rankai and the purple-robed old man to fight for a while in the air, seeing that the two demon lords were still evenly matched, Shaolin Yu took advantage of the purple-robed old man's focus to slash at the colorful light shield with the silver moon broken blade. Bang! When the silver moon broken blade came into contact with the colorful light shield, an explosion was heard. Then, the light shield that had been attacked by the 3 top-grade demonic weapons for a long time broke. "How dare you!" The purple-robed old man roared in the air. He swung the jade ruler in his hand and slammed it in Shaolin Yu's direction. The ruler was still in the purple-robed old man's hand. The purple-robed old man did not move towards Shaolin Yu, but layers of ruler shadows fell on top of Shaolin Yu's head. Because the other party's realm was much higher than Shaolin Yu's, those ruler shadows could firmly lock onto Shaolin Yu. However, the purple-robed old man's opponent was Rankai. If he attacked Shaolin Yu, Rankai would seize the opportunity to attack him with his strongest move. Shaolin Yu did not dare to be like Rankai and directly smash those ruler shadows with his fist. Instead, with a thought, 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs flew out at the same time, forming a sacred sword of light that could restrain demonic cultivators and energy spells, and slashing those ruler shadows apart. At this time, Rankai's powerful attack had already penetrated the purple-robed old man's demonic light defense and sent him flying far away. Shaolin Yu had already found his target, and the wings of extreme speed had already appeared behind him. His target was a middle-stage mystic demon cultivator. He looked very young and appeared to be a little panicked at this time. When Shaolin Yu came closer, the young cultivator in Shaolin Yu's body immediately shone with a bloody light at the same time. When Shaolin Yu was less than 3 feet away from his opponent, the silver moon broken blade in his hand had already shone with a chaotic demonic light. A black jade talisman suddenly appeared in the young cultivator's hand, and he directly threw it at Shaolin Yu. Not good. A top-grade demonic talisman. Feeling the energy fluctuations in the black jade talisman, Shaolin Yu's heart suddenly trembled, and he immediately dodged to the side. Only then did Shaolin Yu remember that although his opponent was only a middle-stage mystic demon, he was still related to a demon monarch expert. If he had a demonic talisman made by a demon monarch expert on him, he would be in a bit of danger. However, even if his opponent was only a middle-stage mystic demon, his realm was still higher than Shaolin Yu's. At this time, both sides were so close that it was impossible for Shaolin Yu to completely dodge the attack of the top-grade demonic talisman. Boom! Just as the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs' sacred light shield formed, the demonic talisman exploded. Shaolin Yu felt an incomparably powerful aura shock wave acting on his body, causing his body to fly backward like an arrow released from a bow. His entire body was in intense pain, and his abdomen was already badly mangled. Even the demon infant in his dantian was violently vomiting blood. Fortunately, the 4-colored halo above the chaos demon infant's head sped up at this time, stabilizing its injuries. Otherwise, Shaolin Yu would have died on the spot from the attack of the demonic talisman. The energy contained in the top-grade demonic talisman was definitely comparable to the all-out attack of an early-stage demon monarch expert. When Shaolin Yu was blown away by the demonic talisman, the fear on the young cultivator's face immediately dissipated, and a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. It seemed that his expression just now was all an act to make his opponent look down on him and let his guard down. However, he did not expect that after being blasted by the top-grade demonic talisman at such a close distance, his opponent would be able to stabilize his body after flying a long distance away. It was just that his face was a little pale. It was completely different from what he imagined that his opponent would die on the spot. However, he did not panic, and the smile on the corner of his mouth did not disappear, because there was another top-grade demonic talisman in his hand. Shaolin Yu snorted coldly. He opened his arms and a torrential poisonous mist surged out. In an instant, it had already enveloped the entire small mountain. Although this poisonous mist was not enough to directly kill the young cultivator, it could prevent him from using his demonic sense to lock onto Xiaoling Yu. Moreover, the demonic mist would not affect Xiaoling Yu's demonic sense. He aimed at the other party's position and endured his heavy injuries to throw out a palm strike. The sky full of palm shadows appeared in the poisonous mist. They wrapped around the poisonous mist and slapped towards the young cultivator. At this time, the young cultivator was a little flustered. Although he could not find the other party's position, he could not help but throw out the demonic talisman in his hand. Chapter 308. The young cultivator's body trembled. His soul and demon nascent soul were also heavily injured. They only managed to hold on for a short while before they were both shattered. Xiaoling Yu quickly arrived in front of the young cultivator and absorbed all of his life essence before flying away with the poisonous mist. Although they had completed their mission, the purple-robed demon monarch was still around. Even if Xiaoling Yu and Ran Kai worked together, they would not be able to kill or even injure the purple-robed demon monarch. It would not be easy for the two of them to leave the southern sea continent. Before the two of them came to the northern sea continent, they did not expect to meet a demon monarch expert. Bastard! I will burn your soul in demonic flames for 10,000 years and make you beg for death. The purple-robed elder roared furiously at Xiaoling Yu. Then, his aura skyrocketed. Even his body was growing rapidly. In an instant, he had turned into a giant that could support the heavens. In an instant, Xiaoling Yu and Ran Kai looked extremely small. Formless demon! Ran Kai exclaimed in shock as he looked at the 10,000 feet tall demonic body. Xiaoling Yu did not know what kind of existence the formless demon was, but she could clearly feel that the purple-robed elder's aura was a level stronger than before. If the purple-robed elder was an early-stage demon monarch, then the purple-robed elder was now a mid-stage demon monarch. If the purple-robed elder could fight evenly with Ran Kai when he went all out, then the purple-robed elder could easily defeat Ran Kai. It was no wonder that Ran Kai was so shocked. The higher one's cultivation, the greater the difference between early-stage, mid-stage, and late-stage demon monarch. If the difference between early-stage earth demon and mid-stage earth demon was 1, then the difference between early-stage demon monarch and mid-stage demon monarch was more than 100. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible to make up for such a huge difference. From the 10,000 feet tall demonic body, there was already a powerful aura that sealed the space within a few hundred miles. Even Ran Kai felt his shoulders become heavy and his aura gradually became chaotic. Before you die, I want to know why you want to kill my disciple. He has always been by my side. He shouldn't have offended the two of you, right? The demon monarch asked. Xiaoling Yu and Ran Kai both looked gloomy. They were not in the mood to answer this question. No matter how he answered, he would not be able to appease the other party's anger. He might as well think of a way to escape before the other party made a move. That's right, I don't need to ask. Once I kill you all and extract your souls, it'll be easy for me to find out anything. The giant devil didn't dawdle and immediately slapped down. Before the slap arrived, a gust of wind had already gushed out from the palm of his huge hand. Even Ran Kai was unable to stabilize his body in that gust of wind. Ran Kai's 3 top-grade magic tools flew out at the same time. Against the gale, they swayed upwards, but before they could come into contact with the giant palm, they had already been sent flying. Brother Xiao, what are you waiting for? Ran Kai shouted as a reminder, and then threw out 3 more top-quality devil talismans. Xiaoling Yu controlled the 6 devil-suppressing immoral orbs to transform into divine light swords and chase after the top-quality devil talisman. At the same time, he made a chaotic devil seal to attack. However, their efforts were in vain. Under the giant's seemingly casual palm, whether it was the top-quality devil talisman, divine light swords, or chaotic devil seal, they were all defeated. The giant palm still slapped down fiercely. No matter how Xiaoling Yu and Xiaoling Yu dodged, they were still enveloped by the giant palm. Boom! The giant palm slapped Xiaoling Yu and Xiaoling Yu onto the island, and the entire island sank into the sea. Xiaoling Yu and Xiaoling Yu almost used all their strength, but they were still unable to stop the palm from falling. From this, one could see the huge gap between the two of them and the giant devil. Being slapped into the sea at the same time, Xiaoling Yu tried his best to stabilize his body and control the qi and blood in his body. However, Ran Kai slapped a paper-like devil talisman on himself. Then, with a flash of blue light, he turned into a ray of blue light and disappeared in an instant. With that devil talisman, Ran Kai's speed increased by a large margin. However, Ran Kai chose to escape at such a time. Moreover, he did not give Xiaoling Yu any notice, nor did he have any intention of taking care of Xiaoling Yu. Although it was very unrighteous, Xiaoling Yu had expected it. After all, Ran Kai was a devil monarch expert. Even if he could not defeat the giant devil, he should be able to escape. Xiaoling Yu was the one who killed the giant devil's disciple. The giant devil would definitely want to kill Xiaoling Yu here and might not chase after Ran Kai. Humph. Don't even think about escaping. The giant devil's thunderous voice rang out. The long hair on his head that fluttered in the wind all slithered out like black poisonous snakes and chased after Ran Kai at an even faster speed. Ran Kai found that the hair was getting closer and closer to him. Knowing that he could not escape, he shot out a few more top-quality devil talismans behind him. The explosion of the top-quality devil talismans only temporarily stopped the hair and helped Ran Kai to put some distance between them. However, when the hair recovered, it began to shorten the distance between them and Ran Kai. In his anxiety, Ran Kai slapped his forehead. A ball of blood essence the size of a fist came out of his mouth and dissolved into the blue light on his body. The blue light immediately became more vigorous, increasing Ran Kai's speed by a few notches. Even so, the blue light could only keep up with the hair. It was still unable to escape. However, after spitting out a few more balls of blood essence, Ran Kai shook off the hair and disappeared into the horizon. You lost so much blood essence. Even if you escape, it will be difficult for you to recover. You will not be able to make another breakthrough in your life. You are no different from a dead person. The giant devil did not chase after Ran Kai. After judging him, he glanced at Xiaoling Yu. Xiaoling Yu did not try to escape. After seeing the speed of the hair, he knew that he could not escape even if he wanted to. It was better to save his energy. You killed my disciple. How should I treat you? The giant devil said with a sinister expression. Xiaoling Yu only stared at his opponent with a solemn expression. He did not open his mouth to speak. After experiencing countless dangers in life and death situations, he would not completely give up or break down until the last moment. You were seriously injured by my disciple's devil talisman. Your strength is not even at the devil lord level, yet you are still so calm. Do you have the ability to survive? The giant devil stared at Xiaoling Yu as if he was very interested. However, his expression was full of disdain for Xiaoling Yu's calmness. Xiaoling Yu also knew that his calmness was of little use. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. However, being calm was better than not being calm. Can you tell me why there was a bloody light shining from you and my disciple at the same time? The giant devil asked again. Even if I tell you, you won't let me go. Xiaoling Yu replied indifferently. I think that must be the key to why you came here to kill him. It's fine if you don't say anything. After I search your soul, I'll know everything. After saying this, the giant devil seemed to have lost his patience. His fluttering long hair swept towards Xiaoling Yu. Xiaoling Yu knew that he could not dodge, so he sent out a few chaotic devil seals to bombard the long hair. His struggle was futile. The long hair only stopped for a moment. Then, it directly wrapped around Xiaoling Yu. Come here. The giant devil said with a sinister smile. Unfortunately, the giant devil's smile froze on his face. This was because the person who was originally bound by his long hair had broken free. His hair, which was not inferior to a top-grade devil artifact, was easily cut off by the other party. I didn't expect that you would have such a powerful Dharma treasure despite your low cultivation. The giant devil said in amazement. Xiaoling Yu remained silent. The silver moon broken blade in his hand continued to shine with chaotic devil light. It was a matter of life and death. Xiaoling Yu would not hide the divine artifact anymore. He wanted to use all his strength to survive this calamity. I lost a beloved disciple and obtained such a divine artifact. It's not too bad. The giant devil laughed sinisterly again. His giant palm slapped towards Xiaoling Yu again. This palm was still as ferocious as ever. It sealed the surrounding space, making it impossible for Xiaoling Yu to dodge. Xiaoling Yu roared. The colorful firebird immediately flew out from the silver moon broken blade and rushed upwards against the force of the palm. The colorful firebird was Xiaoling Yu's most powerful attack. Moreover, it was released by the divine artifact. Therefore, it was not repelled by the force of the giant palm. Instead, it hit the center of the demonic palm. The demonic palm that originally covered the sky immediately shrunk by half. Its force was also weakened by more than half. However, it still covered Xiaoling Yu's head. However, after the giant was attacked by the colorful firebird of the silver moon broken blade, he was like a balloon that had been pierced by a needle. His entire body kept shrinking. Xiaoling Yu gathered all the force in his body and remained motionless. When the demonic palm was about to hit him, he used all his strength to swing the silver moon broken blade and slashed at the giant palm. Since the giant devil could recognize that the silver moon broken blade was a divine artifact, he naturally would not take the attack of the divine artifact head-on. At this moment, his palm strangely shrunk to its normal size and he grabbed Xiaoling Yu's wrist, causing the silver moon broken blade to miss. "Ha, this divine artifact belongs to me from now on." The purple-robed elder, who had almost returned to his original state, laughed heartily. However, it was too early for him to be happy. Just as he was about to pour his power into the other party's body to imprison him, he was shocked to find that his power could not invade the other party's body. There were only two possibilities for this situation. The first was that the other party was stronger than him. The second was that the other party's power was of a higher quality than his. The first possibility was obviously impossible. If the other party was stronger than him, he would not be restrained by him. Therefore, it could only be the second possibility. Just as the purple-robed elder was thinking, a silver needle appeared in Xiaoling Yu's other hand. The silver needle instantly pierced towards the back of the purple-robed elder's hand. Chapter 309. Xiaoling Yu's counterattack was also quick and fast. The purple-robed elder only had time to release his cultivation to defend himself. The purple-robed elder was confident that as long as his cultivation defense was not attacked by a divine artifact or an energy attack stronger than his, it would definitely not be broken. However, in the next moment, he felt a sharp pain coming from the back of his hand. The purple-robed elder cried out in pain and could not help but let go of Xiaoling Yu's wrist. However, he did not forget to kick Xiaoling Yu. Xiaoling Yu did not dare to take the flying kick of a demon lord level expert head-on. He did not have time to retrieve the silver needle and directly dodge to the side. It's actually another divine artifact. The purple-robed elder retreated 100 feet and looked at the silver needle that was halfway into the back of his hand with a look of disbelief. Not good, my cultivation. After a while, the purple-robed elder was shocked to find that his cultivation was rapidly depleting. He was even more terrified. However, no matter how hard the purple-robed elder tried, he was unable to force the silver needle out of his body. His cultivation was still flowing away like a river. Quickly retrieve your divine artifact. The purple-robed elder shouted in panic. This silver needle is also useful against the demon lord. Fortunately, it's still useful. Xiaoling Yu secretly rejoiced in his heart before replying, "Retrieve the silver needle and let you continue to kill me?" After experiencing countless dangers in life and death situations, Xiaoling Yu became more and more calm and collected. If not for this advantage, he might not have been able to turn the situation around this time. Experts all cherished their lives. The stronger their cultivation, the longer they lived, the more so. This demon lord level purple-robed elder was naturally no exception. Retrieve this silver needle and I can promise to let you go. Otherwise, I still have enough strength to kill you. The purple-robed elder said coldly. I don't believe that you can kill me now. As long as you can't kill me within 100 breaths, you will die on the spot. Xiaoling Yu waved the silver moon broken blade in his hand and said confidently. Then die with me. The purple-robed elder was furious. His long hair flew towards Xiaoling Yu again. Although Xiaoling Yu was heavily injured, he could still hold on for a while. He used the chaos energy to support the silver moon broken blade, and the wings of extreme speed carried him to move rapidly. The purple-robed old man was no longer in his giant demon form, so his long hair alone could not do anything to him. After all, the long hair was not a divine artifact, so it could only be cut off by the silver moon broken blade. Soul suppressor. The purple-robed old man suddenly pulled back his long hair and shouted. 2 beams of light immediately shot out from his eyes. No matter how Xiaoling Yu dodged, he was unable to avoid the 2 rays of light shooting into the space between his brows. Xiaoling Yu's sea of consciousness immediately rang like a giant bell, but the grayish-black metal piece in her sea of consciousness remained as stable as a boulder and did not move at all. In just a moment, the purple-robed old man's soul attack was absorbed by the grayish-black metal piece. Although the purple-robed old man was of the demon lord level, he was like Ran Kai. He could not use his demon consciousness to spy on Xiaoling Yu. Naturally, he did not know that Xiaoling Yu's sea of consciousness did not have a soul, nor did he know that Xiaoling Yu's soul was actually in the chaos demon nascent soul. Life Breaker. Seeing that his soul attack was ineffective, the purple-robed old man did not think too much about it. He immediately changed his spell. His other hand turned into a claw, and he grabbed at Xiaoling Yu across the void. The claw was very far away from Xiaoling Yu, but it instantly released a demonic light that enveloped his entire body. Then, the demonic light began to revolve around him, forming a huge suction force that acted on his entire body, causing his life essence to become chaotic. It was obvious that this spell was used on the enemy's life essence. It was used to extract the enemy's life essence and kill the enemy. However, just as Xiaoling Yu's life essence was about to go berserk, the demon lord's life imprint hidden in his flesh suddenly revealed itself, causing his entire body to shine with a bloody light. No matter how strong the suction force was, Xiaoling Yu's life essence began to gradually stabilize. When the purple-robed old man saw that this spell was ineffective, and that the remaining power in his body had been completely exhausted, even the demon nascent soul had begun to disperse, he realized the severity of the problem. He raised his jade ruler and chopped at his own arm. This was a heroic man cutting his own wrist. However, the purple-robed old man had underestimated the power of a divine artifact. Although his jade ruler had the power to chop off his wrist, the moment it touched his arm, the silver needle automatically activated its power, releasing a powerful divine power that repelled the jade ruler. Xiaoling Yu had long realized that once the silver needle pierced into a person's body, it would not stop until the person was dead. Unless an outsider helped pull it out, the person who was pierced was helpless. Little brother, we have no enmity between us. Let's both take a step back. If you take back the silver needle, I swear that I will not make things difficult for you. I will also teach you a few powerful spells. How about it? The purple-robed old man was burning with anxiety. He was on the verge of death, so he naturally could not continue to be stubborn. No enmity between us? I just killed your disciple, and you even threatened to extract my soul and burn it in the demonic fire for 10,000 years. Xiaoling Yu sneered. I can swear on my soul. The purple-robed old man said again. Nothing is more straightforward than you dying. Xiaoling Yu was not the kind of person who liked to leave behind future troubles. You! The purple-robed old man was in despair when he saw that neither soft nor hard tactics worked. His face gradually became ferocious, and the demonic light around his body began to explode. You'd better not waste your power. You won't be able to self-destruct, Xiaoling Yu said calmly. the more the purple-robed old man stimulated his power, the faster his power dissipated. In just a few breaths, his demonic infant had completely collapsed, and his soul had also dissipated at this moment. A demon monarch had fallen with hatred just like that. After confirming that the purple-robed old man was completely dead, Shaolin Yu stopped the corpse in midair and pulled out the silver needle. The silver needle did not change at all after absorbing almost all the power of a demon monarch expert. However, it had already saved Shaolin Yu several times. Even if it was used to deal with Shaolin Yu still wanted to keep it well. After putting away the purple-robed old man's storage magic treasure and the magic treasures in his body, Shaolin Yu threw the body into the spirit beast pouch for the strange young beast to eat. After that, Shaolin Yu casually found an island, carved a simple cave abode, and set up some restrictions. Then, she began to rummage through the purple-robed old man's storage magic treasure. After a few moments, a relaxed smile appeared on Shaolin Yu's face. This demon monarch's storage magic treasure really did contain top-grade healing pills. After taking a top-grade healing pill, Shaolin Yu began to concentrate and meditate with her eyes closed, nursing her severely injured body. While Shaolin Yu was recuperating in seclusion, Ran Kai had already teleported away from the southern sea continent. He went to the Chishui continent, where there were no experts, and casually found a place to begin his seclusion. However, before he went into seclusion, Ran Kai took out his communication pearl and said in surprise, "That brat's soul imprint hasn't been destroyed. Could it be that he also escaped? No, it's possible that his soul was imprisoned." In order to escape, Ran Kai had expended a large amount of blood essence. The injuries he had suffered were definitely more severe than Shaolin Yu's, and more difficult to recover from. It seems that I can only hope to obtain all of the demon monarch's life essence. Otherwise, even if the demon monarch's soul consciousness is destroyed, it will be difficult for me to make any further progress. When he thought of this, the dispirited look on Ran Kai's face disappeared, and was replaced by a deep determination. Even with the help of top-grade healing pills, Shaolin Yu took a full 10 years to completely recover. However, he did not immediately come out of seclusion. In the spirit beast pouch, the strange young beast that had swallowed the purple-robed old man's body was originally in a deep sleep. However, when Shaolin Yu finished recuperating, it woke up. After waiting quietly for 2 months, the strange young beast finally began to hold its stomach and cry out in pain. Its entire body was also enveloped by the chaotic light. With previous experience, Shaolin Yu was not too worried. She only frowned and waited. Not long after, the strange young beast spat out a bead and took the initiative to present it to Shaolin Yu. Shaolin Yu did not stand on ceremony. He swallowed the bead and did not reject it from entering the chaotic nascent soul. He knew that this bead was very effective in protecting the chaotic nascent soul. With this bead's protection, the chaotic nascent soul would not be in too much danger if he was attacked by an early-stage demon monarch expert in the future. Having just swallowed the purple-robed old man's body, the strange young beast's aura fluctuation was comparable to that of a late-stage mystic demon. However, after spitting out the bead, it was only at the late-stage spirit demon realm. However, this realm was very stable. This fellow's speed of improvement is really too fast. If it directly swallowed the body of a demon monarch or a demon monarch, Shaolin Yu could not help but let his imagination run wild. After inviting the strange young beast back into the spirit beast pouch, Shaolin Yu still did not end his seclusion. Instead, he began to carefully examine the collection in the purple-robed old man's storage Dharma treasure. This demon monarch expert was not very rich. He only had a few thousand demonic crystals, some supreme-grade demonic treasures, and demonic pills. Shaolin Yu did not really need these at the moment. However, there were a large number of materials in the storage Dharma treasure and a few jade slips with high-level demonic techniques that Shaolin Yu was very interested. There's actually a coiling dragon pill. It seems to be supreme grade. I've struck it rich. Isn't this jade box containing the Bodhi fruit? The faceless gigantic demon technique inscribed in this jade slip seems very powerful. I have to take a closer look. Xiao Lingyu's expression was very interesting as he examined the purple-robed old man's storage Dharma treasure. Although he had almost lost his life this time, he had successfully killed a demon monarch with a little bit of luck and the other party's carelessness. The harvest was also very rich. No wonder there's a coiling dragon pill. It turns out that cultivating this phaseless gigantic demon technique requires a coiling dragon pill. After immersing his mind in the jade slip for a long time, Xiao Lingyu suddenly came to a realization. Chapter 310. My current strength is not too far away from the initial stage of Devil Monarch. If I can cultivate this formless gigantic demon art, once I activate it, I won't have to fear the initial stage of Devil Monarch like Rankai. Thinking of this, Xiao Lingyu dispelled the idea of coming out of seclusion. His mind was once again completely immersed in the jade slip. Xiao Lingyu's current cultivation was still in the spirit demon stage, but if he went all out, he could display the strength not weaker than the late stage of Devil Monarch. The reason for this was not only because of the chaotic void refining stage itself, but also because he had many powerful spells and artifacts. More importantly, he benefited from his very strong body. To increase one's cultivation level, it was not something that could be done overnight. But even if one did not increase one's cultivation level, there were other ways to increase one's strength. Cultivating a powerful auxiliary cultivation method was one of them. Formless gigantic demon art was also an extremely brilliant auxiliary cultivation method. It was the same as soul-rending demon palm. After cultivating it, it would not increase the cultivator's cultivation or soul realm by much, but it could greatly increase the cultivator's attack power. And how much power it could exert on the cultivator's body depended on the cultivator's strength. Most auxiliary cultivation methods were the same. The stronger the cultivator's strength, the stronger the power of these auxiliary cultivation methods. Cultivating formless gigantic demon art required 3 basic conditions. First, the cultivator's body must be strong. Second, the cultivator's body must be able to expand. Third, the cultivator's body must have a very strong reserve of power. The first condition, Xiao Lingyu already met. The second condition, Xiao Lingyu could solve it with the miraculous effect of the coiling dragon pill. For Xiao Lingyu, the biggest problem of cultivating formless gigantic demon art was the reserve of power. When using formless gigantic demon art, the body will expand many times. The cultivator's meridians will become thicker and can accommodate more energy. This will greatly increase the strength. But after the meridians expand, if there is no matching energy in the body to be mobilized, the strength will naturally not increase by much. Cultivators generally use their nascent souls and their bodies to store energy. However, under a certain realm, the amount of energy that could be stored in the nascent soul was limited. Once it reached saturation, it could no longer be injected with energy. Otherwise, the nascent soul would collapse. If it wasn't for the sake of breaking through to the next realm, cultivators would never dare to overload their nascent soul. Even Xiao Lingyu's chaotic demonic nascent soul was the same. In order to successfully activate the phaseless gigantic demonic art, just increasing the amount of energy in one's body by a little was not enough. It needed to be at least 10 times more. To any cultivator, this was an extremely difficult problem to solve. Of course, since there was a cultivation method like the phaseless gigantic demon art, there must be a way to cultivate it. There must also be a way to store a large amount of power in a cultivator's body. This method was to compress and solidify the essence blood, condensing it into a blood crystal. The energy contained in a blood crystal of the same size was definitely more than 10 times that of liquid essence blood. Furthermore, after the essence blood was solidified, its energy would be more tightly restrained and would not leak out easily. There was no need for the cultivator to take care of it or suppress it. The blood crystal itself was also very sturdy. Even if the cultivator's body suffered a heavy blow, it would be able to withstand it. It would not allow the energy contained in it to leak out and cause the cultivator's body to explode. For an ordinary cultivator, it would only take a long time to condense the essence blood into a blood crystal. After all, the formation of the essence blood was not easy. To compress and solidify the essence blood was an extremely long process. However, this method might not be suitable for Shaolin Yu, who had cultivated the 9 revolutions chaos technique. The chaotic demonic energy was of a much higher level than the demonic spirit energy. Shaolin Yu had always relied on absorbing the energy in demonic stones to refine and convert it. This originally required a large amount of demonic stones to support it. Furthermore, the chaotic demonic energy contained in his essence blood was much purer. As such, if he wanted to solidify the essence blood, he would first have to compress and solidify the chaotic demonic energy. This was not a problem that could be solved with time. However, apart from this method of solidifying the essence blood, the Jade Slip did not mention any other methods. As such, Shaolin Yu was forced into a dead end. Solidifying the demonic spirit energy was not too difficult for cultivators who were at the early stage of the mystical demon realm and above. As long as they had enough demonic stones, they could do it. However, it was very difficult for Shaolin Yu to solidify the chaotic demonic energy. This was because not only did it require a large amount of demonic stones to support it, he also had to find a way to solidify the chaotic demonic energy himself. At this point, Shaolin Yu knew that he had to either give up on cultivating the phaseless gigantic demonic technique or have the ability to solidify the chaotic demonic energy first. After pondering for a full 3 days, Shaolin Yu still could not find a reliable method. However, while he was in a daze, he suddenly thought of something. His eyes could not help but light up as he invited the strange cub out. Whether it works or not, it all depends on you. Shaolin Yu stroked the strange cub's head and then injected his power and a ball of essence blood into the strange cub's mouth. The strange cub had never rejected these types of energy. Whether it was Shaolin Yu's or someone else's, it could swallow them all into its stomach and quickly digest them. However, before it digested them, Shaolin Yu gave it a few orders and reminded it of a few things to take note of. After 4 hours, the strange cub began to hug its stomach and cry out in pain again. Shaolin Yu waited anxiously for a while before the strange cub gradually calmed down. After it had completely recovered, it opened its mouth and spat out a bead the size of a grain of rice. The bead was dark red in color and its luster was restrained. It faintly emitted an aura of life and chaotic energy. Ha! It's done! Shaolin Yu carefully observed the dark red bead. Then, he hugged the strange cub in his arms and kissed it fiercely with a look of ecstasy. The dark red bead was a blood crystal. The chaotic energy within it had already solidified. After the solidification, the quality of the blood essence and chaotic energy did not increase. However, the energy within it was very concentrated and rich. It was completely suitable for cultivating the phaseless gigantic demon technique. With this, all the problems were no longer a problem. Shaolin Yu's cultivation of the phaseless gigantic demon technique had officially begun. The quality of his body was already high enough. There was no need to deliberately improve it. He had no way to improve it at the moment, so there was no need to consider this. Shaolin Yu first swallowed the coiling dragon pill. Then, he closed his eyes and quietly digested the medicinal power of this supreme-grade pill. The coiling dragon pill melted as soon as it entered his mouth. The medicinal power turned into a stream of energy that was like a swimming dragon. After it entered his abdomen, it entered the meridians of his body. At this moment, Shaolin Yu's body was constantly shining with a strange light. A long illusory dragon circled around him. Not only could the coiling dragon pill increase the quality of a cultivator's body, it could also give the cultivator the bloodline of dragons. It could even give the cultivator the ability to transform into a dragon. The reason why the phaseless gigantic demon technique required the help of the coiling dragon pill was not because it could give the cultivator the ability to transform into a dragon. Instead, it was because of the bloodline of dragons. As everyone knew, any demonic beast that cultivated to a certain level could freely switch between their human form and their original form. However, human cultivators could not transform into demonic beasts. This coiling dragon pill allowed the cultivator's bloodline and physical body to transform into a dragon. If the medicinal power was sufficient, it could allow the cultivator to transform into a dragon. Even if the cultivator could not transform into a dragon, it could make the cultivator's body stronger and naturally, it could also expand. After expanding, it would not affect the quality of the body. This was the greatest help that the coiling dragon pill could provide to the cultivation of the phaseless gigantic demon technique. About 3 months later, the long illusory dragon around Xiaoling Yu's body suddenly spun rapidly. The long illusory dragon gradually disappeared and was replaced by a strange cocoon of light that wrapped around Xiaoling Yu. Within the cocoon of light, Xiaoling Yu's intuition told him that a dragon's roar was constantly ringing in his ears, and the dragon-shaped medicinal strength within his body was constantly changing his flesh, blood, bones, and organs. There was even a portion of the medicinal strength that directly affected the chaos demon nascent and the golden soul bead. The itchy pain, as if thousands of ants were gnawing at his bones, came from all parts of his body. Xiaoling Yu's face turned pale and his body trembled uncontrollably. The pain of the body and soul metamorphosis was something that Xiaoling Yu had never experienced before. It was also the most unbearable for him. Fortunately, Xiaoling Yu was experienced in this. Moreover, he had reached the chaotic void refinement stage and could still endure it. However, what surprised Xiaoling Yu was that as the medicinal effects caused the final wave of changes in his body, scales actually appeared on both of his arms, and horns protruded from his forehead. Could it be that I can transform into a dragon? Xiaoling Yu was surprised and delighted. If he could really transform into a dragon, his formless gigantic demon technique would be activated in the form of a dragon. At that time, his strength would increase even more. However, what made him depressed was that when his arms had completely transformed into dragon claws and the horns on his forehead were less than 3 inches long, the medicinal power of the supreme-grade coiling dragon pill had already dissipated, and the dragon transformation was forced to stop. A human body, dragon claws, and even a small dragon horn. Xiaoling Yu looked at himself and couldn't help but smile bitterly. He was really neither fish nor fowl. Less than 10 breaths after the dragon transformation stopped, Xiaoling Yu's body returned to its original state. The dragon claws and dragon horns disappeared. With just a thought, the dragon claws and dragon horns appeared again. With another thought, they disappeared at the same time. Fortunately, I can freely transform. The quality of my body seems to have reached the level of a supreme-grade demonic weapon. The quality of these dragon claws seems to be even higher. Xiaoling Yu looked satisfied. He took out another supreme-grade demonic weapon from the Demon Lord and slapped it with his dragon claws. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.